Okay. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Everybody. Welcome to Movie Boners.
5 years.
Don't know how to start, don't know how to end. I don't know what we're doing. Anyway, welcome, Movie Boners, everybody. And very special episode. We've been looking forward to this one for a long time. And I know our guest, maybe a Movie Boner super fan, I think, James from I Was a Teenage Film Snob, here to co-host and share his opinions with us today. Welcome, James.
Thank you for having me. I am a super fan. I message with you mostly, Jake. And I have said it in writing. I'll say it here. Movie Boners is my favorite independent podcast, and it is my top 2 favorite podcasts of all time. If it is a new Movie Boners, everything else gets put on pause. I love it. So it's an honor to finally be here.
Well, high praise. Appreciate it.
I'll take that humble shot at. I pretty much only talk to you, Jake, but that's because I'm terrible at being.
Well, a slacker.
I've started to get to know like your tone of voice when writing. So sometimes I know it's Dustin, but it feels like most of the time Jake's on. So I was really worried.
If it feels like something is off, that means it's Dustin.
Hey, that's fair.
I was really worried coming on here that your audience wouldn't recognize me because I've got a bit of a cold right now, and I don't know how many Australians you've had on. So I thought, just in case,
he did it. He did it.
I was so excited for this.
I'm so happy.
Oh, yeah, this guy. I remember this guy, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's...
So I
now we remember him. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Everything
I
makes
can't do
sense
that for the whole episode. But anyway.
I was going to say, it probably would be better with a head cold.
Yeah.
Get the real gravelly voice when you have a cold.
Yeah, I was like, do I lead on the gag a third time? I'm like, I gotta at least one.
Yeah, I mean, you've been 2-time awards presenter. You're also a big-time celebrity interviewer now. I've been watching a lot of your actors and actresses, and I really liked your Jillian Bell episode as well.
Ah, thank you. I'm still pinching myself over that. That's insane.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't immediately recognize the name, but then I looked at her, I was like, I know this like actress, and I love everything that she's been in. She's always hilarious, so that's so exciting for you and for me to be able to listen to it.
Yeah, look at you go, dude. Look at you go.
It all just happened by accident, man. Like, I just... You know, we talk a lot on my show about taking big swings. Like, we're big fans of movies, or just like you guys are, but I'll try to always look for the positives and stuff instead of being like, instead of crapping on it like most people online tend to do. I'm like, let's try and find, like, challenge yourself to find the positive in a movie. And so we talk about big swings, and like when I watched that movie she directed, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to tag her. Like, she probably won't see it, but I'll tag her. And then she messaged me. I was like, oh my God. I was like, well, like, time for a big swing. Like, let's see what happens. I'm like, you want to come on the show? And it was like an instant yes. I was like, wow, like that's...
Wow.
What is my life now? That's insane.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. So we're doing an episode. Happy to have you here. We thought that there would be nobody better for this topic because we're talking about... We've done episodes in the past about movie critics, mostly about Rotten Tomatoes and how much their system is garbage. But we thought it made maybe sense to go a little deeper into the individual critics behind the Rotten Tomatoes critic score. Because I saw... It started mostly... I had this dumb idea because I saw Roger Ebert give a terrible review to Die Hard, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And so I was like, how many other incredible movies that everybody loves have had terrible reviews from professional critics? And so I thought it'd make sense to come on, talk about, are critics even relevant? Have they ever been relevant? Are they still relevant? And then also examples of some of our favorite movies that have gotten poor reviews and how kind of off, like not even like hot takes that critics may have, but just bizarre takes that they may have and how that affects movie going and audience opinions and things like that. So we'll get into that. And as a former film snob, I thought James would be perfect for that. Because you're a big advocate of enjoying all kinds of movies for all kinds of reasons.
100%. You know, I told the story when you guys were on my show. For those listening who haven't checked it out, go and check it out because my show's good and you guys are great. So go check that out.
Definitely.
Best plug ever.
I would do it the other way around. Your show is great and we're good, but that's
that's the dance. It's the dance as old as time. Unfortunately, we're going to keep doing that. But yeah, I told the story. Like, I got to a point where I was only enjoying about 25% of stuff I was watching, and at a certain point I had to take a step back and be like, is that a film problem or a me problem, and I kind of realized it was probably a me problem. And so I just started like going through a list of films that I'd written off. Like, there's no way I'm going to watch that. That looks trash. And I was like, just, you don't have to enjoy it, but try and find something you like in each one, because you're supposed to love this thing. Like, this is ultimately the biggest part of your identity, and you hate it. Like, that seems wrong. And so I just started doing that. And now, like, I'll go into anything and be like, all right, the challenge is, what do I like about it? What can I find that I love about it? And I find it's a much more rewarding experience now. Like, I can watch anything. Like, you're talking to the guy who went to Madam Web opening night, and I was like, yeah, there was some fun stuff in there. Is it a good movie? Well, that's subjective, but and I think that's why I was so excited to come on and talk about this, because, and I won't jump the gun or anything, but it's so weird to have like a ranking or a scoring system for art.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Even with food criticism, like, I don't like Brussels sprouts. They could be the best gold tier Brussels sprouts in the world, but if I don't like Brussels sprouts, it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Like, anyone, you know, Chef Ramsay could make them, Jamie Oliver could make them. If I don't like the ingredient, it's not going to happen. It's the same with film. It's like, it feels weird to put a score on it. And I got so many things to talk about, but I'll let you run your own show. Sorry.
No, that's great. Yeah, I think
there's
that's
a chance you'll end up running this one.
That's what every other podcast I go on says. They're like, we know you weren't still talking.
Dustin told me that he did not prepare well for this, and I said, just ask James questions. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get into that, though, normal show stuff, we do need to check in on the new movie draft.
You know, this is the one time I don't think we need to.
I think that we do. I think it's important. I
don't need a third year in a row. This is ridiculous.
Well, just so you know, I've not gone over $1 billion yet with the old Lilo and Stitch. Still at 917 million at the time of recording this. And but I am in the lead by about $700 million. We have the closest IMDb rating that I think we've ever had up to this point. So very close together. We've picked pretty good movies, other than some obvious ones that James gives us crap all the time for not picking Thunderbolts. He's kind of right about that.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I was listening to that episode and I was like, guys, like, I know that like it's not been popular to like Marvel lately, but like, I don't know, man. Like, Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, I think, are the ones to bet on. And then Thunderbolts didn't make that much money, unfortunately, but critically, I think it did quite well. So
yeah, it was
audiences
more solid.
Really liked it.
Definitely more solid than some other stuff. But time of recording this, F1 just came out, and that seems pretty exciting. Hopefully it's a banger like Top Gun Maverick was. I think it's tracking pretty decently, and it has a couple weeks before Jurassic World and Superman come out.
Yeah, Jurassic World's going to be a big one.
And apparently sounds like it's good. Like, early reviews are saying it's pretty solid, so I'm excited for this one.
My daughter and I are seeing it on Wednesday, so the second.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, very cool.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And then, I guess the question is, with Jurassic World and F1 coming out right now, are Superman and Fantastic Four enough for Dustin to close that $700 million gap before summer's basically over? Yeah.
Gosh.
I can't remember. I know that I'm not part of the draft, but like, Dustin, did you pick both Superman and Fantastic Four?
I did.
He did, yeah. So he's the green team.
He's gonna win summer. I'm sorry. Like Superman is tracking really well. Like, I know that anyone who's in the Snyder camp, or like that very small vocal point who hates James Gunn, like, think it's gonna crash and burn. There's no way this flick doesn't make bank. Like, it looks fun. Like, it looks like it's targeting a more general audience. And that latest Fantastic Four trailer looks cool as well, man. So I think you might win summer, Dustin.
I got a comment on that Snyderverse fans stuff going on. Like, Jake and I are pretty vocal Snyderverse fans.
Me too.
We love his vision. I think some of the fan base has kind of lost track of all things. The whole idea to go in, review bomb and destroy, try to like put down Superman. Man, you're just acting like the same critics that were paid to do that for BVS, Man of Steel, and Justice League. So
no, Dustin, they're acting like Lex Luthor. Like, that's the most anti-Superman thing you could do. Like, any Superman would want a Superman movie to succeed.
And just like Lex Luthor, they will undoubtedly fail. So, yes. But it was kind of a bummer for me to see, like, the fan base going to that extreme now, which was one of the big things that the fan base complained about when Snyder's universe was, like, coming forth. So, it's kind of ironic and sad at the same time.
Yeah. I think it's rough. I think it's hard that there's a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths still that they haven't forgotten and probably won't ever forget how they handled the Henry Cavill situation.
Yeah.
That they led audiences on and then pulled the rug out. And they're still waiting for James Gunn to prove that the DCU makes sense because nobody's watched Creature Commandos really. And
it's really wonderful. Is it? I binged it in a couple of days. Maybe back in March. And if you watch the Harley Quinn cartoon, which is really quite great as well, it's very similar in tone to that. And feels a little bit like his Suicide Squad as well. So it's a weird first chapter for a universe, like to start with that. Yeah. But I would say as weird as making Suicide Squad your third movie when you're building universe 10 years ago. So it's a weird decision. But yeah, it's totally fun. Like, it's,
It sounds interesting, like the characters in it and stuff, but it's hard for me. Like, I don't care either way. If Superman's great, that sounds great to me, but it's also hard to let go of trust James Gunn after he said how great The Flash was, and then it wasn't.
Yeah, The Flash was horrible. So
I think it was like one of the greatest superhero movies ever made, and I don't think anybody agrees with that.
I think Gunn was put in a very unique situation where he'd just been given the reins of what can be described conservatively as a very unstable studio for the last 15 years. Absolutely. And I think he had to please the money man and be like, oh yeah, no, go see Flash. They had Tom Cruise telling everyone to go see The Flash. I personally enjoyed The Flash. It's not a brilliant film, but there was enough in it for me to have fun. But I think, and I've heard a lot of people disagree with this online, I think the key to any sort of Snyderverse restoration is James Gunn. Like, Gunn has come out and said multiple times, we want to do Elseworld stories. We want to tell us, but you can't do an Elseworld without building your foundation first. If you want to see Snyder come back, or someone come over and take over the reins and finish that story, we need a strong foundation of a generic universe. We need our ground universe first, and then we can spin off. And I think WB is not going to waste time on projects they don't believe in if they're constantly doing what they did for the last 10 years. They need to have a plan. Get your foundation going, do a Superman, do a Batman, do a Wonder Woman, and once we can see, just like with Marvel, like Marvel wasn't making Guardians of the Galaxy in Phase 1. They ran out of characters, that's why they did it. Like, they didn't have Spider-Man, they didn't have Fantastic Four, but they used the characters they had to build a foundation, and then they're like, Phase 2, like, now let's get weird. And like the last couple of phases, they've really had to get weird, whether it's, for better or for worse. And I think that's what we can see with DC. Like, Gunn and Snyder have worked together before. They've been friendly online and stuff like that. I can see a version in which we do see some sort of wrap up to that. But WB has to see value in their product. And they haven't seen value in their product for the last 10 years. Like, even though those Snyder films made money, I don't know what was going on, man. They changed leadership every 2 weeks. So I think, like, under the reign, kind of the wings of Gunn, I think maybe that's probably our best bet at seeing some more Snyder stuff. I'd like to see him contribute to this new universe. Like, his Watchmen flick is amazing. Get him to do, like, I don't know, get him to do, like, New Gods or something. That'd be great. Like,
that could be cool.
Yeah, that could be a lot of cool stuff.
I'm so positive, guys.
I love it. I love it, for sure. It brings us up. Is there anything else, like, the rest of this year that you're looking forward to, James, as far as movies that you anticipate being big?
My big one, I don't know if it's going to be big, but the one I'm really looking forward to is The Running Man. I'm a huge Edgar Wright fan. He's my favorite director. I don't think he has a bad film in his filmography. I think he's been consistently great. He gets slept on quite a bit, but I think The Running Man should be really good. And is it Glenn Powell who's attached in the...
Yeah, he's
like, what, the internet sweetheart, like him and Edgar Wright. Like, that sounds like a great film. I'm cautiously optimistic about Freakier Friday. I didn't realize it was going to theaters. I thought it was going to be a Disney Plus thing. That first film came out when I was a kid. It's a great time to take my daughter to the movies. Like, I'm looking forward to that. And I saw, it's not on your list, but I saw a trailer last night. I just went and saw 28 Years Later. And I saw a trailer for Together, the Alison Brie, Dave Franco horror flick. And that looks really interesting. Yeah, the poster. I hadn't watched a single trailer. It was my first time seeing it. It looks cool. Like, I'm digging that. But I'll try and watch as much as I can before the end of the year. So
that's awesome. Yeah, we didn't draft it either, but I just saw the trailer for the Toxic Avenger remake.
Yeah,
that looks amazing.
Pretty sick.
Gosh.
Even though Peter Dinklage kind of sucks, like in Hollywood business terms, the movie itself looks pretty sick. And I think the Toxic Avenger doesn't get enough love that it's kind of a cool idea to reboot it.
I was just so glad that the preview had just obnoxious, like, over affected blood and all that.
Gore and violence.
I was like, this movie won't make any money, but this is going to be it. To me, it looks like a full callback to my favorite kind of horror and my favorite kind of campy films, which is just that, like, over the top, silly, gross, ridiculous kind of thing. I'm stoked for it. I got so happy when I watched it.
Yeah. I love Toxic Avenger. We did like an 80s retrospective very early on in the podcast, and that was it. Like, Toxic Avenger is one of my favorite 80s films of all time. And this new one's directed by Macon Blair, who was the lead in Blue Ruin, which is a fantastic film as well. So,
yeah, Blue Ruin's awesome.
Awesome and sad.
Awesome and sad. Well, I guess before we move on to new stuff, there's a movie news elephant in the room that I do think we've kind of been following. We need to talk about. Russell Crowe was cast as the Spaniard in Highlander.
It's true.
I didn't say this.
Him and Henry Cavill are reuniting, so this is that's a cool moment.
That's not the elephant in the room. No, obviously, we want to talk about James Bond news. Denis Villeneuve joining as director. Did not see that coming at all.
At all.
But that's exciting.
It's very cool. Especially after, like, Villeneuve's been like a WB director for a while, and they kind of screwed over their directors during the pandemic, so it's interesting that, like, he's now going to another streaming service after all the kind of pain that was caused in 2020, 2021, so
yeah.
Yeah, I've got mixed feelings, honestly, about him being a director. Not because I doubt his ability.
Sure.
But I kind of find myself coming off of how serious the Daniel Craig tenure was. Part of me was kind of hoping, like, maybe we go back to, you know, more Brosnan style, or maybe even like a Timothy Dalton, like right in that range. Go back to that style.
Just a little more camp.
Yeah, a little more camp. I don't think we're going to get that.
Probably not.
I was like, oh, this is going to be like the Sicario of Bond. This could get really intense, which could be really awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny you went to Sicario, I went to Prisoners. I was like the Prisoners version of Bond.
Oh,
yeah.
No, we don't need a Prisoners version of Bond.
I'm kind of hoping for more of like a Blade Runner 2049 style of following Kay and as Bond. That could be kind of cool.
I guess I just I don't know that we need like the epic style Bond. I kind of want, like, hopefully he just goes to basics and it's like a 2-hour just shooting fest and Bond being Bond.
I did just see that he doesn't have Final Cut, and MGM wants to control, or Amazon wants to control kind of where it goes, because he is only on board for one movie.
Yeah.
And so it could just be a one-off, see what happens kind of thing. But then you could end up with something like Skyfall, and that was amazing.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Apparently they initially went to Nolan, and they did give Nolan Final Cut, and he passed. And they're like, Villeneuve, yeah, we'll give it to you, but we're going to have final say. I'm looking forward to it. Like, controversially, I'm ready for him to move on from high-concept sci-fi. Like, he's been doing that for a while, but my favorite Villeneuve films are kind of everything pre-Arrival. Like, I love Arrival, but Sicario, Enemy, Prisoners, like, there's more grounded human tales, and that's what I'm hoping we see in this version of Bond, is like a more, you know, kind of maybe exploring that humanity a little bit more, and like the dark. We've seen a dark Bond, so I don't know how much darker we can get, but I think Villeneuve's really good at doing that and exploring that character, which we haven't had as much lately. It's been less character driven, more just these massive landscapes and soundscapes and stuff like that. So I'm ready for him to go connect with people a bit more again. So I'm excited.
I am too. I'm really excited, and then I started seeing that Amazon wants kind of random actors as Bond, like Tom Holland and
I saw that
Chica Belordi, and the lead Bond girl options are Zendaya and Florence Pugh, and I'm like, can we have new people who are not like the new young hotness like Tom Holland? Like, that would be interesting, I think.
Is Holland particularly tall? Like, I know he plays a teenager.
No, he's pretty small.
Yeah, and like I'm 5'3", so I'm still not one to cast stones. But
I feel like that would be a terrible choice.
For Bond.
It feels like it would just be what's that movie that I'm blanking on? That is
Uncharted.
No,
where they tried to make Holland seem like
the secret society of like kid spies.
Spy Kids.
No,
Agent Cody Banks.
No,
going real deep.
It's like a British spy with
Kingsman.
Kingsman, thank you. Yes.
Oh, okay.
It feels like it would just be like Kingsman.
I like that James and I went with like the silliest.
Well, you said kids, so we went with children's films. I wasn't like I love Kingsman, I love my daughter, but never the twain shall meet not until she's much older.
I am giving you full props for going with Agent Cody Banks.
Yeah, I'll go deep cuts, man.
Kids.
We can talk what a girl wants.
Check it out.
Anyway.
It's like,
this is the risk you take when you bring me on your show.
No, I love it.
It's all good.
Moving on to new stuff, though. You mentioned, James, you saw 28 Years Later.
Yes. Yeah, I just saw it last night.
How was that, and what other new stuff have you seen recently?
I'm still unpacking my feelings on 28 Years Later. I can say confidently from a filmmaking perspective it's brilliant. But it's not what we're used to with this franchise. Like, those other films are fast-paced, they're kind of action-packed. This is very slow, which is not a bad thing. I like a slow-paced film, but it's also far more bleak than I was expecting. I would put it like, I walked out of it feeling like I just watched Trainspotting. I was like, oh my god, my heart needs days to recover. It's very sad. There's definitely like a story of hope and stuff in there, but it's quite tragic, and we're now entering this era. I was talking about this recently with someone. Over the last couple of years, horror is breaking the rules that it's established for decades. Rules like pregnant women are now no longer safe. Children are no longer safe. And we're seeing Danny Boyle do that. And Danny Boyle might be a happy guy, not a happy filmmaker. Like, this is a bleak, sad film. It is definitely one you want to catch in theaters. Like, it's beautiful, and it's very much kind of like nature has kind of come back style of apocalypse film. So instead of being like that kind of dusty, barren apocalypse, we're seeing, almost like an apes film. There's just all this greenery and kind of lush kind of, return to nature, which is stunning. The visuals are incredible. There's this one sequence on a bridge. I won't spoil it, because even though it's not a plot point, you just want to see it. It looks like something out of Mandy. Like, have you ever seen Mandy? Like, the way he kind of shoots the skyline and stuff. There's a shot like that. It's beautiful. And Ralph Fiennes is insane in this movie, and it's maybe one of my favorite performances. Like, I think he's really good in it.
Oh, cool.
But I know it's got a divisive ending. People have talked about the ending being quite divisive and not what they were expecting. I loved it. It kind of took the left turn. It's not like this, but if you think about The Substance and how the very end of The Substance with this really weird left turn and just kind of went insane for 30 seconds, that's kind of what happens in this movie as well. But I dug it. I'm still unpacking my feelings and kind of mending my heart after it, but it's really well done. It's a great flick.
That sounds really good.
And then I haven't really watched anything like new for me, but not new. Like, I've actually been going back, and I just picked up the Universal Monsters box set, so I'm currently going through all the old 30s and 40s horror films.
Yes.
Fantastic.
It's just been on my watch list forever, and I haven't been able to get access. So I think I'm 6 into that box set. So I've watched Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Wolfman, Bride of Frankenstein, and The Invisible Man. So next up is Phantom of the Opera. But
dude,
wonderful, just so great. Like,
Like rewatching The Invisible Man. I have to, because The Wolfman was like my favorite for the longest time. But rewatching Invisible Man, I was literally just telling my daughter this last Saturday. Like, that might be one of the coolest and best movies. Like, The Invisible Man from that, oh my gosh.
It makes it really hard to justify 3-hour run times and shoddy CGI when they could do it in an hour and 7 minutes with a bunch of bandages.
And it's it is such an effective story too. How quick they show the insanity and just the chaos that comes. Man, Invisible Man is so good. Those old Universals, those movies make me happy.
It's been a treat, and I can knock them out in just about a lunch break at work, which is really good because I have a longer lunch break. So I can just sit down and watch a classic monster movie while I have my lunch. It's been awesome. So the only one I have seen before is Creature from the Black Lagoon, but I really dug that, so I'll go back and check that out again. Yeah. But yeah, I haven't been watching anything new. I still haven't seen Bring Her Back, which is on my list, but I think it's just about out of theaters over here. And I'll probably take my kid to go see Elio next week because it's the only kids movie out at the moment. She doesn't want to see How to Train Your Dragon, so I was like, all right, well, we won't go.
Yeah, fair enough.
So one really new one, and then 700-year-old ones. That's what I'm at.
No, those are totally worth going back to, and I think most people haven't watched them, and so it would be a first-time watch for most people, I think.
Yeah.
Good to recommend.
I haven't really watched anything new. I did kind of rewatch, I guess in a way it was new-ish to me because I haven't watched it since 2003, so it's been a minute. Rewatched the movie Just Married with Brittany Murphy.
Yeah.
Don't ask why. Yeah, don't ask why. Like, I remember hating it in the theater. Rewatched it, and it made me laugh, not because it was genuinely funny, but because over the last, I don't know, Jake, what would you say, like, couple months, 3, maybe 4 months, like, a return to the 2000s, like, that strict 98 to, like, 2005, I've been kind of revisiting movies from that time period, and I just get like happy watching this stuff, because
especially rom-coms, and
they're so specific, even though they're pretty much all the exact same story with the exact same joke, but they're all enjoyable, and it's really just kind of been fueling that thought of like, I think movies need to maybe revisit this style or revisit just this Jake and I talk about it a lot, the simplicity, like maybe
I listen to the show, like
like maybe we don't need the most depressing character story ever that's full of metaphors that don't make any sense in any way you try to justify it.
So many movies now have they've lost that like just classic hero trope, even that arc or archetype would just be great to have in movies again.
Like I don't know, so it was an odd movie to kind of really like, oh, this is fun in such a like cheesy way, so that, and then I rewatched an old Robin Williams movie called Cadillac Man, and that
with Tim Robbins.
I forgot just how great that movie is. And that was a great one to rewatch, but those are really the only two full-length movies I've had a chance to sit down and watch. It's been a busy couple of weeks, so
fair enough.
Sorry,
before I want to ask you guys, because I listened to your John Wick episode, which is like 4.5 hours long. It's amazing.
Like
I've been pimping it on my, like, we went to the Ballerina premiere, me and my podcast co-hosts, and when we posted our episode, I was like, before you listen to ours, go and listen to the Movie Bonus John Wick episode. Like, that way you'll be all caught up. But have you guys had a chance to see Ballerina yet?
I did, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm glad one of us did.
It was weird, actually. I heard so much online that it was like slow in the beginning and then the last like half was action. And I didn't feel that at all. I thought that it was very exciting, very engaging from the beginning, that it does establish her in the world, but it does a good job of constantly being the action that you would expect from that kind of a movie. And I also thought it did a really good job of establishing and maintaining her power level.
Yes.
That she didn't ever feel like, oh, she's the same as John Wick. Like, no, she's a small little woman. And I hate so much when action movies, like especially with a female lead, will just have like these weird, bizarre flourishes and kicks and things that don't make any sense whatsoever. And this movie still felt very real and grounded, kind of what you need from a John Wick movie. I really, really liked it. And it
her
has a lot
first
of...
mission is great. Like, it's a great way of setting that power level.
Yeah, exactly. And she does a good job of, they do a good job of establishing, we talked in that episode about the lore and how much we wanted to know more about the Rescaroma and all, and everything that you see in John Wick 3. It delivers on that. I think that there's new insights into the family, the tattoo rituals, and establishing their purpose as ballerinas, as the Kikimora, is a good complement to and the opposite of the Baba Yaga. I just thought it was really cool and has a lot of cool moments that you haven't seen in a John Wick movie, like new interesting action, crossbows and grenades and flamethrowers. Cool. And yeah, it's definitely, I think, way up there as on par with all of the others.
Also a really good axe to the face moment, which I really like. The flamethrower thing, I've never seen anything like that in a film before. I'm shocked they saved it for the spin-off. I'm like, when that isn't a John Wick film, but yeah. And that whole like small town sequence, she goes from the restaurant onwards, is just 20 minutes of beautiful insanity. It's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of brilliant stuff in there. I heard that Chad Stahelski had to reshoot so much of the movie because it just wasn't what he wanted, and he couldn't have the John Wick name like not meet his level. And so even though we had said that what's his face, the guy that did all the Underworld movies, directed it, sounds like they had to fix a lot of it. And I think it comes across as being the same as all the other John Wicks. And then I saw Hardware, which is a movie from 1990 that actually Andrew James Brown on Instagram had just randomly said, have you ever seen this movie? It's insane, and the practical effects and the soundtrack and everything are awesome. And so I watched it randomly, and it's actually really good and interesting. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It stars Dylan McDermott, and it feels very much like a cross between Mad Max and Blade Runner, and like Short Circuit, but if Johnny Five was not a nice guy.
That was the most random third, and Short Circuit, what?
It takes place in like this post-apocalyptic, deserty type town, city, and most of the movie takes place. They very much focus. It's a B movie basically. Dylan McDermott has like this Nintendo Power Glove on the whole time, and they like emphasize it as like, this is a cool techie thing, because he always like he wears it in the shower and in all the sex scenes and stuff, and it's always like in the shot. Like they always like he wears this Power Glove.
Was there a toy that came out around that time that's like a Power Glove?
I don't know, probably not. But it's like kind of slow in the first half, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to like this, because it is just this robot kind of using heat vision to like watch them as it rebuilds itself. But then the last half of the movie is just insanity as this robot like puts itself together and starts tearing through this apartment, and it's pretty awesome. I think if you're into B movie action with practical effects, Hardware from 1990 is worth watching.
There's a really good Hardware joke in The Office. I don't know how familiar you guys are with the American version of The Office, but there's this so there's this whole like storyline where Erin and Gabe get to choose a movie night, and they play to choose, and she wants to watch Wall-E, but he wins, and he goes, I know you want to watch a post-apocalyptic robot movie, so we can meet in the middle. Hardware. And I was like, that is a deep cut reference for The Office.
That's fantastic.
So I'm watching the trailer as you were talking, Jake, and there is a shot in the trailer of the weird glove in the shower.
Oh, I'm sure.
This looks hilarious. It looks like I have to watch this movie.
Yeah,
so...
I think you would like it for sure.
Send it to me.
Okay. And then last thing for me, I watched The Accountant 2 and really like that.
So hard.
Yeah. I think it just came to streaming, pretty sure. And I really liked it. The mystery is cool. But most of the movie is just based on the reason it exists. And the reason it should exist is because of the relationship of the brothers and the chemistry between Ben Affleck and John Bernthal, because they sell it. They're so good together. And I really love Bernthal especially. He also does a good job of depicting that even though he's much more socially there with it, he's also on the spectrum. He's just not like, it's not about numbers and patterns with him. It's just about violence with him. But you can tell that he is related and has the same dad, and that does a good job of selling it. And Ben Affleck does a great job of acting as well, just doing that performance of smiling when he knows he's supposed to smile, but then dropping it like way too early. And it's really cool. And the action is cool. There is a part where Ben Affleck is speeding at like 180 miles an hour on a motorcycle trying to get to this girl's house to save her, and it did make me miss him as Batman. I was like, this is a Batman move, like an autistic Batman, but this is a Batman move for sure. And that's it.
Nice.
Okay, so enough nonsense. Let's get into the episode.
Let's get into even
I should
more
leave then if we're going to
nonsense.
stop the nonsense. Sorry, guys.
Yep,
Okay,
show's over, folks. Sorry.
You're right. We should escalate the nonsense and really expand upon it. So I guess starting out, do you think movie critics are relevant, have ever been relevant? We can start there and then try to unpack it, I guess.
James, that's to you, man.
I've been thinking about this a lot. And I think that, like, we have to establish what we think a critic's role is and what those criticisms are. Because I think in the world where everyone has a smartphone, everyone can be a critic, but I don't understand what it means. And my whole thought, because I think there's room for critical analysis. That's what critiquing is. It's not criticizing, which is what the internet seems to think it is. It's talking about in a fair and just way, and talking, just looking at all the elements, being like, all right, I like this part for this reason. The film executes this. It's not even I like. Once you start putting opinion in it, it's no longer a critique. It's an opinion piece. That's why I don't tell people I'm a critic. Some people are like, oh, you're a good critic. No, I'm not a critic. I'm telling you what I think, and I love everything. So I'm an unreliable critic.
You're literally the worst critic.
Yeah, 100%. I always try to remind people, I'm like, don't listen to me. Like, vote with your wallet, but like... Yeah, look, I'm just an idiot with a microphone like everyone else. Like,
James is out here defending Avatar, and we are actively like.
Look, let's go on a tangent right there. I refused to watch the first Avatar for 15 years. When it came out, I was like, not interested, don't care. And then it became this thing where James Cameron was less about promoting his art and more about like, let's make money, guys. I'm like, I know it's a business, but like, you don't like. If you keep your movie in theaters for over a year, of course it's going to make a lot of money. Like, that's not a record breaker. So I was just defiant with Avatar. And then finally, maybe like 3 years, I finally sat down and watched it. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure at the time it was really visually interesting. I've seen versions of it. Like, it's not terrible. But, I wasn't like, whenever I hear you guys bring up Avatar, I'm like, oh, I relate to this.
It kind of sounds like someone listened to our most recent episode, huh, Jake?
The one that hasn't come out yet?
Oh, it's not.
I'm that dialed in with you guys. I'm on that on the pulse.
When
I know
this
it before
comes
the
out,
episode
it
comes
will
out.
be out.
That's true.
Yeah, the
so
most
it's-
recent one I listened to was the Bad Dads one, and I said to Jake, and I was like,
yeah.
no mention of death sentence? What's going on?
No mention of death sentence. I would love to tell you that it was because I already had that movie on a list and I didn't want to repeat it.
I gave you the benefit of that.
You did.
Yeah,
The
Jake
truth
defended you.
is, I didn't even, I totally didn't think of that at all in terms of the dads. And then when I read your message about it, I was like, wait. Oh, he does make horrible decisions.
Yeah. I was sitting there the whole time and like, are they going to mention Iron Claw? Where's Iron Claw? And then thankfully...
But you got to
like,
remember... Right. So that was one that I was the most shocked neither of us brought up. But my list had to be non-redeemable. So,
Yes.
although he
Yes.
makes horrible decisions, he's still trying to do it out... And this sounds weird.
for
He's
sure.
trying to do it out of, like, avenging his son. But
I've successfully derailed the podcast for the fourth time. Yeah, so is there a place for criticism? I think there is, but I just think that there's not really very many genuine critics left. I think we have a mutual friend, Adam from the Movie Archer. He writes wonderful pieces and does this critical analysis of film, but most people aren't critically analyzing a film. They're saying this sucks because it's got a girl hero in it. Like Ironheart right now is being review bombed and is critically poor, but it's just people having a tantrum. Like, and that's what it is. It's a kind of this weird cesspool of like negativity and hate. So I don't think I'm a reliable critic. I'm just trying to balance out the scales. But I do think the people who take the time to really break it down, look at it as an art form. As I said, I think it's ridiculous to give a score to a movie because I'll tell you right now, I've watched The Room way more than The Godfather.
Yeah.
Is The Room a better film than The Godfather? Technically, no. But do I have more fun with The Room? 100%. Yeah. So once you start bringing things like that, how can you possibly attribute a score? Like, yes, films tell us these great stories of the human condition and unpack what it means to be a person, but they can also entertain us and be silly and have fart jokes. Like, it's hard to... How do you change the metric, based on the intention of the film? So there's a place for it. I just don't know whether now is the time for it anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like the intention of a critic, and there may have been a time when it was more relevant when you didn't have everybody's information and opinion at your fingertips, and you couldn't easily crowdsource, like, how good is this thing? It seems like the purpose of a critic is to help you decide if you should see something that you're not sure about. And it's helpful if they can say, if you like these kinds of things, you will like this movie. If you don't like these kinds of things, you'll hate this movie. But nobody seems to do that. Is my, I think, main criticism of critics is they're not trying to help audiences as much as they're trying to put a score on it or say that their opinion is the correct one and kind of gatekeep movies in a way to say, like, that movie that you like is actually not good, and this movie that you don't like is the best ever, when what audiences really care about and what we really care about is, am I going to like this? Is it worth all of my money? Is it worth my time? And it doesn't have to be amazing, but also I want to find things that will move me and be amazing. And it's hard to know if you will have that experience if you don't try it. And I think it's a lot of critics dissuade people from seeing movies that they might fall in love with on a personal level just because it's not artsy enough or technically proficient enough or whatever.
Yeah, I think, I was thinking about this question a little bit. I know I said I came in completely unprepared. That's true for examples, but I have thought, I remember growing up, Siskel and Ebert were pretty much the only name you ever heard on trailers or saw in like the Reader's Digest or, the entertainment magazines or the newspaper. You'd have like your local newspaper movie critic write out a piece. But I remember Siskel and Ebert they were pretty big and pretty relevant. Anytime a new big summer movie was coming out, I remember watching interviews with those two on their opinion about the movie. And I remember as a kid, they seemed to be a little more fair. I disagreed with a lot of their stuff. But their critiques of them seemed to be either, like, it just wasn't, like, they would come out sometimes and just say, this just isn't my kind of movie or my kind of story. This one's just, I kind of knew I wasn't going to like it, and guess what? I didn't. But I never felt like they were trying to keep people from seeing every movie coming out. And I think the idea of the movie critic has really become very, like, pigeonholed, or like you said, Jake, where it's gatekeeping everything. Where it's like, I think it's just gotten so overly pretentious. And James, you and I, we've talked about this. We relate, in our movie loving past, where we both at one point became so pretentious with like every movie that we were just like, well, I'm hating everything now because it's just not hitting that. People call it artsy or whatever, but it's just, I don't know. it's like the most pretentious, holier than thou kind of mentality. And then the reality is like, what would you actually put in front of film? It's not going to be super artsy, and it's probably not going to do well.
Yeah. Well, I think some people feel like I won't be cool if I admit that I like Joe Dirt.
What's a quote unquote acceptable in the current culture, then I'm not going to be cool enough. I won't be accepted. Man, just make an entertaining story. I always say the most important job for a filmmaker is entertain. So like you, James, say, you know, find one good thing in everything that you're watching. My one thing is always, does it entertain me? Like at some point, am I entertained by it? And if the answer is yes, then I can't actually say that I hate a movie. I can dislike it, but if it entertained me, I can't justify saying, oh, I hate that movie. It sucks. Unless I talk about like the campiness where it's like, it's technically a terrible film, but I will rewatch it until my dying day, which I definitely say about Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Or Toxic Avenger, which we was talking about before.
Which I'm stoked for that. Like,
yeah.
But I think movie critics are the idea of it now. Most of them are like paid to love certain films by the studios. I don't think there's an actual independence when it comes to movie critics anymore. And yeah, I think everyone's trying to satisfy the guy with the paycheck, or the guy who can write the check, instead
100%.
of just go and watch a movie. And like you said, Jake, like if you like these kinds of movies, you'll love this. If not, you'll hate it.
Right.
I also think more people need to get off their soapboxes and go and have kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? Reset, like I did when I rewatched Step Brothers, and that movie totally like, okay, back to just sometimes we need some stupid. Sometimes it's just the perfect anecdote.
The thing that boggled my mind, I used to sling DVDs in a past life before COVID and stuff like that. I used to sell DVDs. And the thing that would boggle our minds was when they started slapping the Rotten Tomatoes sticker on them. I was like, first of all, it's not even really a thing here in Australia. But like, even if it was, who cares? They got an aggregate score. Like that doesn't account for taste. And like the things I used to love about that job was having those conversations with people. Like I remember the most divisive film that came out during my time selling DVDs was Batman v Superman. Which is apparently one of the most divisive movies of all time because people couldn't understand that Martha was a metaphor. But that's beside the point. And people would come in and like, I haven't seen us pick up the DVD. I was like, look, if you haven't seen it, it's going to sound weird. Pay the extra bucks, get the Blu-ray. Because the Blu-ray has the extended cut and you're going to enjoy it. If you want, because I saw it in theaters and I didn't love it. I saw it twice because I was like, every movie deserves two goes. I didn't love that movie until I saw the extended cut, and then I got it, and I was like, but it was like if they had just gone by a Rotten Tomatoes score, like they never would have given that movie a chance. It's like, I don't know, like it, and I hear what you're saying, Dustin. It feels like these critics are very much just like, we're pointing you to the box office so we can help the specific movies make the money they need so they can make more of this movie, and it shouldn't be about that. Like it should be. It just feels like people are not having conversations about movies anymore. They're just being told, this is good, this is bad, this sucks. Don't watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's coming down from on high, and this is the opinion that the internet should have, and you're wrong if you don't have that one. It's a hard thing because there have been obviously cases where critics have been determined to be in the pocket of studios and actually helping it make money or suppressing other movies by just giving them generally bad scores when they don't deserve it. But I think that there's, even for independent, obviously we don't review that many things, but we do get asked occasionally to watch something and share a clip of our opinion. And we do give our most clear and concise opinion as best we can, but I do sense an inkling of, I guess, what do I owe this person, and also if I shit on all these movies that I don't like because they're not for me, are the invitations going to dry up and I'm not going to be invited to watch all of these things anymore? And so for a professional movie critic, I can only imagine when it's your livelihood that you want to put little blurbs in that say that they can put on a poster, and then you can have your name on that poster, and then as a little quote, and then also just, I don't know, there's a relationship there that you can't really be fully independent the deeper you get, I think. And we're on the outskirts, so it's easier, but I think when you're deep and you're all of that, unless you get super big, like I think Siskel and Ebert probably didn't feel that as much, but then he gives Die Hard 2 out of 4 stars, and and so it's just a weird thing, I think, the dynamic.
Yeah, for sure. It is weird. Like, I'm going through that myself as well. Like, now I'm getting people reach out to me, and the good thing is I'm mostly positive. But I remember I spoke to a filmmaker last year, and she directed this wonderful Ted Bundy film called The Black Mass. It's on Amazon right now. This is not an ad, but it's really wonderful. You should check it out. But I was talking to her about it, and I'm like, it's really interesting. Like, I said, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but it's very slow, not a lot happens, and the dialogue seems irrelevant. And she goes, oh, James, it's boring. Like my movie. And I was like, oh, we're allowed to say that? You're the filmmaker. And she's like, no, it's deliberately boring. Like, it's meant to be boring, so then when the shocking things happen, you're paying attention. Like, you're kind of grasping that. But, so it was interesting to hear her use that language. Like, no, you can call my movie boring. It's meant to be boring, but when the important things happen. But I look on IMDb, which, is a very trusted source, and it's got like a 4.2. And it's like, I'm not even in the camp of like, oh, you didn't get it. Like, that's not really the audience's responsibility. You take from it what you will, and if you get the message, you do. If you don't, then that could be a communication error on the film's point of view. But it feels like people are just looking at it face value and not looking deeper. So whilst I don't blame the audience for not getting it, it also doesn't hurt to work a little bit. Like, for the film, and like, look at, I believe in giving every movie a second chance. And like, every time I see a low score review, I'm like, you watched this once, you probably watched it in 1.5 speed on Netflix, and you haven't really considered the full scope of it. But yeah,
well,
it's
these days, everyone's tied to the phone, so like, you watch a movie, half of the time if you're watching it with a group, chances are you're going to glance around the room and everyone's going to have their phone up, and you'll do I remember as a kid telling my mom, like, hey, you're missing the movie. And when cell phones weren't a thing, weren't, big, but she'd get up to do something else and I'd be like, dude, you're missing the movie. And she'd be like, oh, I know what's going on. And then 10 minutes later it was, wait, who's that? Wait, what did I miss? And it's like, that's how quick the story can change, or that's how quick a plot can have something that you're like, oh my gosh, I get it now. So I think the attention span, you brought up the like, oh, you're probably watching this on 1.5 speed on Netflix. Yeah, because no one's sitting down. No one's trying to give it the time that it probably needs. And I do agree with you to an extent. For the most part, on every movie deserves a second watch. There are definitely some, James, that Jake and I can tell you.
We talked about this on my show. You're like, I don't need to go back to that.
So,
like, sure, does Sailor need to be watched once? No, probably not. Like, it probably doesn't need to be watched at all. Like, you're gonna be, you certainly need to go a second time. But I think, you talking about, you even said it before, you just rewatched Just Married, and at the time you hated it because you were probably a teenager and it wasn't made for you.
Yeah, and I thought, this is so dumb.
With the perspective of being a father and, being older and also having that nostalgia, like, suddenly you look at it in a new light. And I think that's really important. We just rewatched all the Mission Impossible films for our podcast.
It's like the best franchise ever, man.
Really great franchise. And I went into I was up to number 2. I'm like, all right, well, this is the terrible one. Like, this is going to be medicine. And I remember the last time I watched it was 10 years ago, and I fell asleep during it, and I was not looking forward to it. And I sat through it, and I was like, you know what? It's not great, but it's kind of fun.
But it's entertaining.
It's entertaining. It's definitely, if you compare it to other action films from that era, it's probably above average. And it kind of feels like a Brosnan Bond film. I'm like, this is actually not too bad. Like, and it's interesting what, time and perspective gave me. Like, and then, I went into 3. I was like, okay, 2's not good. But, at the same time, like, it's still fun and enjoyable. Like,
right. Yeah, I think like you were talking about that movie that has a low score on IMDb, and I do think that even just movies that are slow or that have complexity that is kind of a barrier to entry for some people, all of those movies that get made, kind of what we approach, or at least how I approach when we're asked to watch something, every movie I think has the potential for greatness. It just needs to find the person that it's for. That there may be a movie that I don't care for, and there's lots of movies I don't care for, but I think that there is somebody out there that loves that movie, and it's their favorite movie of all time. And so that's kind of my approach, is that even though I don't care for this, there is someone who loves this movie, like with their whole being. And so it's hard for me then to say this movie sucks, or this movie's terrible, or this is a 1-star movie, or whatever. That I try to take that objectiveness out of it and say that it is completely subjective in a lot of ways for that reason.
That is exactly the philosophy behind my podcast. Like when I created it, the mission statement was basically, if every movie is someone's favorite movie, then there can't possibly be any bad movies.
Yeah.
Which, some people are like, well, hang on, we've seen some bad. It's like, no, it's bad in your eyes. Like, I remember years ago when, I want to say, Django came out, and people were like, Tarantino's lost it. He's a hack. I was like, what are you talking about?
Who are you
Tarantino
talking to? We talked
Even
to
if you
people
don't
that were
like Django.
This is the best one.
And the first time I saw Django, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but he was coming off Inglourious Bastards, like that, and Kill Bill, which are two of my favorites. But even though I didn't love Django as much as those, and now I really do love Django, because I rewatched it multiple times, it's like, even if that was true, he's not a hack. But then I was like, well, if you don't like Tarantino, and you don't dig his style, and you think it's offensive and vulgar and over the top and ungodly, then I guess to you he is a hack. And I was like, oh, we're both right. And that's kind of like, all right, okay, and that's art. Like, that's what it is. Like, it's just, yeah.
There should be more agreeing to disagree, it seems. And I think critics could help audiences find the movies that they're meant for, I think. That would be valuable in my mind, as if critics could say, there's this movie that came out. It has these kinds of things in it. It's for these kinds of fans. And so if you are that, you'll love it because it's great at this. It has all of this cool stuff that you will like. And I guess take themselves out of it, their own personal opinion, like you were saying, that when you get to saying, I liked this or I didn't like this, then throw that away. Or say, if you should be aware, it has this kind of stuff in it. If you don't like a movie with rape in it, you're going to not want to watch this movie. If you don't want to watch a movie where the dog dies, just be aware you don't want to watch this movie.
Spoiler alert.
Which there's a website for now. It's doing a better job than the critics are. It's like, I think it's called thedogdies.com, and it tells you every film that has a trigger in it, and you can filter by trigger, and if you don't want... So you can look up a movie title, and it will tell you if there's violence against animals, violence against women. Like, I'm pretty sure it's called it's called Does the Dog Die? And it's literally a trigger warning website, and you can put any movie in, and it tells you what to avoid. I heard apparently when Thor: Love and Thunder came out, which was an offensive film for a whole different slew of reasons, people were complaining, and there was backlash against Disney because they didn't get a trigger warning that there was a cancer patient in it.
What?
And I was like...
How is that? See,
I was
that's
like, first of all...
things too, like... I don't know.
Like, spoiler alert, guys, cancer's real. But second of all, like... She gets superpowers. Like, remember, like, he's wearing a multicolored outfit, and there's, like, a weird CGI head floating, and there's an Infinity Stone ice cream store. Like,
a lot of people die, too, just so
like, that's like, getting mad at Infinity War because the villain wants to cause a genocide. It's like, I can't get a trigger warning for everything. But anyway, Does the Dog Die? A great website if you do want your trigger warnings.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that. That's a really interesting idea.
Yeah.
I would be kind of cautious on does this have trigger warnings, because that's already kind of like, if the rating system would actually be consistent in listing why a movie is rated what it's rated, like it used to be, I think that serves well enough for trigger warnings. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't feed into a lot of the trigger warning things, and I also kind of worry that going to that, I like their concept. I like the idea of it, of just like, hey, these movies are going to have this kind of subject matter in it. Because sometimes stuff will pop up that's a little like, oh, that's not necessary in this at all.
There's a couple of times where I'm watching them and I'm like, how far does this go? Because that affects how into this movie I am.
Right. And that's fair. But at the same time, to a degree, because there's definitely stuff that just blatantly will go over every possible line there is just because they want to be shocking. Right. And that's wrong. But I think when you go into a movie, quote unquote, prepared, I think you're kind of doing yourself a disservice to just enjoy 100%. The story. You know, it's like talking to people that when they read a book, they read the final chapter to see if they want to read the rest. And I'm always like, but that doesn't do anything to you because you have no connection to the characters. You have no idea how they actually got there. So you've actually missed the whole point of the ending. So, like, what are you doing? So I don't know. I like the idea behind doing that kind of like, hey, here's the subject matter in a film. I think just listing blatant, like, this movie has XYZ and leave it at that. I think that's fair enough, but that was what the rating system was supposed to be for. So I don't know how I got on this tangent, but yeah.
Because I was talking about does the dog die, but you bring up a really excellent point. There's a fantastic documentary from almost 20 years ago now called This Film Is Yet to Be Rated. I don't know if you guys have seen this documentary, but so good. And it was fascinating to me because the rating system in Australia is much more in line with the UK one than the American one. And at the time of that filmmaking, I don't know if this is still true, but the ratings weren't decided by a government body in America. It's like a parents group. So they were ultimately deciding what is and isn't appropriate. And it was a lot of like, I think like the Catholic League and stuff was helping, which, you know, my opinion on religion is, you know, if it serves you and you feel good about yourself and you find joy in it, then fantastic. Like, I'm certainly not anti-religion, but I do think it is weird that the church is starting to tell you what you can and can't watch. I thought that was a bit strange. Whereas in Australia and the UK, it's a government body. And we actually have more ratings than you guys do, which is really interesting. You guys have what? It's like 13 an R? Is that it? It's like 3 or 4?
No, we've got a handful, but...
PG, PG-13, R... And then
like
NC-17. NC-17, which nobody uses,
Yeah, except for Terrifier, and then makes $1 billion. Whereas with us, like, we actually, it's a little bit more staggered. So a lot of the films that you get rated R in America, we have a rating called MA, which means it's restricted to 15-year-olds and above. Like Die Hard isn't even that. It's on a lower tier for us in Australia. Like, you don't have to be 15 to watch Die Hard in Australia. So our R is restricted to 18 and above, and it's only the really gnarly stuff, like, or the really kind of truly adult stuff. And I guess it also comes down to, I guess, culturally, our relationship with sexuality and violence versus the American cultural relationship with sexuality and violence as well. Like, obviously, we're all kind of impacted by things differently. But yeah, we have tons of them. So does the UK. They've got like 6 or 7. It's like you stagger it. So as they get older, like the UK, I think you can say pretty much anything you want in a PG film. They don't care about cursing at all. Australia, we're a little bit stricter, but not much. But you guys, once you start saying more than one F, it's like, all right, only 17-year-olds, which is a really bizarre rule.
It's very strange how bad words are one of the main leading causes of high ratings, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, that's insane. Like, sorry, like, that's so bizarre. Maybe it's because I come from Australia and our second language is cursing. But yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if that changes. But yeah, it does seem to be the case. But it is also, I guess, kind of advisory and, like, no, because it's not controlled by the government, I think America's the government shouldn't have a say in speech and art and things like that. And so it is more, if you want to submit your movie to this group and they can give it a rating and let people know what's in it, and then they will, and most people do, just because it helps the audience and it helps the box office and helps all of that stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of weird rules, it seems, or just levels of, well, you crossed this threshold with too many F-bombs and now you can't be PG-13 anymore.
But you also, I believe, if I remember correctly with your ratings board, is that if it does go NC-17, cinemas aren't allowed to put advertising in. Is that right? You can't have like posters and trailers and stuff. It's like, we won't fund the advertising. That's what I'd heard. Well, I remember Kevin Smith was talking about it because when Zack and Miri Make a Porno came out, he got an NC-17 for the first first rating, and he had to appeal it because he's like, if we don't get it appealed, cinemas aren't going to show it. Like, it's only going to go to select theaters, and we're not going to be able to advertise because they won't allow an NC-17 to be advertised. Obviously, this is 2008.
Yeah,
so
the marketing has to be a lot more rigid, and I guess, or maybe not rigid. It has to be more strategic.
Sure.
Like NC-17, which is why I think people will either do the recuts, or they'll just stick to the unrated or the non-rated style and just leave it at that.
Lean
like
into
what?
it.
Yeah.
Do
like
you
what
guys get a
Terrifier
lot
3
of
was.
movies banned in America? Like, I feel like maybe the one
We get a
country that
lot of
doesn't-
people trying to ban a lot of movies, but to actually ban a film, I don't know.
I don't think so. No, I don't know the last time I've heard of anything like that really happening.
That you truly are the home of the free, if that's the case.
We it's
Does that
kind of
happen to you
funny.
a lot?
We don't get it so much anymore. I think the only two films I can think of that are currently on the banned list, they might not even be banned, just stores refuse to carry them. Serbian film, of course.
Of course.
Can't
disagree with that.
I think
that's
they
a good decision, actually.
I think they overturned the ban, but the major DVD retailer in Australia were like, "Cool, we're not going to carry it. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to get into Australia some other way, you can, but we're not going to carry it." And I think Ken Park by Larry Clark, who did Kids and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys ever seen Ken Park.
No.
Which when I was young and edgy, I was like, "Oh, I definitely want to see that." Now, as a guy who's almost 40, I'm like, I do not want to see that because it has unsimulated consensual sex of minors in it. Like, that's...
Well,
Not surprised based on what Kids is like.
Larry Clark's
Yeah.
is a fascinating dude. He's a very interesting guy.
I remember
not
watching
necessarily for the right
Kids
reasons.
and just being like, this might be the nastiest thing I've ever seen before. Of course, then we did our infamous episode, and I realized, like, oh, so there's worse.
Yeah. Your that episode you did on like the most controversial films is brilliant though. Like, I literally like I think I was actually remodeling the garage, turning it into a theater when I listened to that episode. It was not long after you were on my show, and I was like, man, this is great.
How it
yeah.
bit
It
us
really
in the
was
butt.
it really was like a reset for us, because I think before that we were more inclined to be like, a lot of people were like, oh, that movie was the worst, and it's like Timeline or something from 2000 whatever, and now we're like, that movie is totally fine. That is not bad at all compared to the bottom of the barrel
You
that I
know
have
what?
seen.
We're going to be very forgiving to many, many movies. Unless it's the Joker sequel. So,
Do you find, and this is we're way off topic, I'm so sorry, but do you find now, you've obviously been a parent for a while, Dustin, your daughter's about
Yeah.
to drive, which is incredible and terrifying. But Jake, I know you got a couple of young children. Do
Yeah.
you find that your tolerance for certain films has changed? Because I know before I was a parent, I was like, I was such an edgelord, so cringy. I was like, yeah, I'll watch all the really gross ones, I don't care, look how tough I am. And the minute I had a kid, I was like, I never got around to Serbian film. I can confidently say I will never watch that movie. I
Yeah.
watched
Please
Cannibal
don't.
Holocaust. I'll probably never go back to it.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain films that there was a time in my life where I could watch them, and now that I've got a kid, I'm like, let's just rewatch Luca again. Like, let's hit up, we just rewatched Despicable Me this one. I'm like, let's do this. Like, I don't need to watch those really horrible ones anymore. I'm always morbidly curious, so vicariously through others, I'm like, oh, you're doing the iceberg? Yeah, what did you watch? That sounds horrible. That's enough for me. Like,
I go through kind of spurts. Having a 15-year-old daughter now, we don't really restrict what she's allowed to watch unless it's like, honestly, our only big rule is movies that are hypersexualized. We don't watch those. If she ends up watching them with her friends, that's probably one thing, but we just don't watch that kind of stuff together. And honestly, with my daughter just isn't the kind that would want to watch that anyways. So
yeah.
And then with all of our life changes in the last year, there's been a lot of movies that we just kind of like just don't want to be a part of it anymore.
Well, I guess that's a different wrinkle, and I don't know how it turned into me interviewing you guys. I'm sorry, but
it was a conversation style episode, dude. You're good.
Yeah.
because I remember obviously, I was kind of present or like listening in, and you've obviously had a huge change in your life, and I was going to ask you, like, has that influenced the way you watch movies? Because you did on your big return episode, which I was so excited. I was so glad to have you guys back, and you talked. You're like, I'm going to watch the same stuff. Like, I still love Terrifier.
I do,
but. Yeah, and it is interesting, like, horror is always so condemned, but, like, very pro-religion, most of those horror films, if you actually watch them, like, like, the ultimate good, like, is religion against the devil, so, but has that impacted the way you watch other stuff? Like, do you now, like, maybe turn your nose up at the, maybe not turn your nose up, but do you now have less patience for those raunchier comedies?
Yes.
Or you're just like, yeah, you do?
Yes. Yeah, I won't hesitate at all on that. I just, I had already been kind of like distant from a lot of it, just being a dad, especially being a dad with a daughter. So once she came into the picture and the older that she's gotten, movies that, I'll stick with the sexual stuff that leaned heavily into that. Just being a dad of a daughter really kind of made me kind of like, oh, this stuff isn't as funny anymore to me, because now I have I'm raising a young woman, so trying to watch it in that regard. In terms of like the violence and stuff, I will still say, I mean, watching Terrifier 3 in the theater was still one of the most enjoyable experiences I've ever had. So I haven't had any kind of conviction or change on that. The big one is just, I think the biggest one that was very noticeable for me of, I'm absolutely done with this nonsense, was when I tried to watch American Beauty again.
Yes.
For the Worst Dads episode. And I couldn't even finish the movie because it just, the more the movie progressed, not only did I feel just like, there is not a single redeemable thing, not just in his character, but to me, like, the movie itself might be one of the biggest examples of what's wrong with Hollywood.
Yeah, 100%. It's gross. Yeah,
it's so gross, and it made me like, I had to. I'll use layman's terms. I kind of had to like check myself because I was such a big fan of it when it came out, because I was like the edgy kid. I was like, ooh, yeah, I liked American Beauty because it's so deep and thought-provoking.
Artsy and...
Yeah, it's artsy. Like, no,
Academy Award
the movie
winning,
is disgusting. It is... It glorifies sexualizing minors. It glorifies adultery. It glorifies all of this stuff. And all of it, I'm so against, even before I got faith. But now it's very hyper. So it has changed how I watch some things. I think honestly, dude, I was always going to start steering away from a lot of stuff just from age and revisiting older stuff, because there's so much newer things or so much content these days that I just don't care about. I don't think it's necessary to tell a story. I don't think it's entertaining. I don't see value or anything edifying in a lot of different subject matter. Trust me, I get the irony that I'm like, but I love horror.
No, like, but it comes down to your core values, doesn't it? Like, I had a similar moment recently in the last couple of years. I rewatched Animal House, which I loved when I was a kid. Yeah, so I'm a big Belushi fan. And, like, there are some jokes in that, like, never mind jokes that age poorly due to, our changing standards and how we treat people. Like, there's some full-on, like, rape stuff in that movie. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? But Pluto, Plutowski, what's going on? Like, snobs against the slobs. I'm on the snob side. These guys are pigs. Like, what are you talking about? But I will say one thing, and my voice cracks, I'm sick. I'm not normally that high registered. One thing I have noticed, which is quite interesting to see, is it is changing. We're seeing a lot more sex positive in those raunchy comedies. So, like, I don't know if you saw Blockers a few years ago, but it's American Pie, but it's all in the power of the female characters, which is kind of a nice flip on it. And just this past couple of months, Summer of '69 is also a very sex positive kind of raunchy teen comedy. Like, it's still pretty blue, and if you're kind of over that style of humor, it probably won't be for you. But it is nice to see, instead of a group of dudes targeting a girl with a webcam, it's kind of, teenage girls who are young women trying to own their sexuality. That's kind of a more interesting take, I think, on it as well. So it is nice to see that some people in Hollywood are trying to change the message a bit.
Yeah, I just kind of think I don't think there needs to be an emphasis on sexualizing everything.
Yeah.
I
sure.
think, like, you brought up you'd rather sit down and watch Luca, over certain stuff, or you'd rather watch The Room over The Godfather. To me, it does. I think about that a lot, where I'm like, wow, for some of these like movies that are considered the greatest of all time, how often do we actually revisit them, like willingly sit down to revisit them? Chances are it's not very much, but we can sit down and enjoy something from our past, something fun, something that's just enjoyable and silly. And we have the time of our lives, and we're going to keep doing it so we can quote that same movie till we're blue in the face. So I think, I don't know. I think with everything that has kind of come out and been exposed in Hollywood, which has always been there, but now a lot of it's getting called out as it needs to be. I am finding myself in the camp of, man, I hope Hollywood burns to the ground. And,
yeah, fair.
and let's get some of these, some of the actors, I'm down in Austin, Texas. There's a lot of actors that have left Hollywood, left California, and are starting to build studios down here in Texas with the mentality of, like, we need to get back to just movie making. We need to get back to, like, can we just make movies for the sake of the art? For, we don't have to put out something that's, our audience is going to walk away so depressed or feeling gross. Like, we can just put a movie out that's going to be enjoyable.
For sure.
I think that's way more admirable.
And there's so many of those, like, 90s movies that I think hold up because they are positive stories or heartfelt or admirable heroes and things like that.
I think there's just a sincerity from like the 30s to like maybe early 2010s. I think there was more sincerity in that filmmaking era, whereas now it just seems to be the only example that's coming to mind for this is kind of the Marvel blueprint, where it's just pump this out, just get it out, just do what you have to do to release something. And I think audiences, honestly, are kind of burned out on that. Maybe that has something to do with why people would rather watch their TikTok reels than a movie that's 2 hours long. I think studios need to shut up. I think filmmakers need to be allowed to make the movies they're setting out to make. I think the idea of the script has to be absolutely perfect, I don't buy that. Considering how many stories from sets throughout Hollywood history where they're like, oh, we never had a script. We were like writing scenes in the trailer.
First Iron Man movie, filming. Barely a script.
Right.
Yeah. And some of those movies end up being the best movies that we're going to watch. So I think, I don't know, I think there's just too much emphasis on perfection, whether it's the script or whether it's will the current culture accept our film, or we have to put this, and this to be edgy, or we have to be artsy. And I don't know. So the long answer, yes, my movie watching style has definitely changed.
Sorry for putting on the ropes there. I didn't prepare. Those listening are like, wow, James has been so hard on Dustin. I genuinely haven't spoken to you in over a year. And,
I didn't take that as you were putting me on the ropes at all. Like,
I was just genuinely curious to like hear, because I think when we doesn't matter what change we have in life, whether we become a parent or we find religion or we move to another state, like our experiences change who we are. And I haven't really met too many people in my circle who have made the jump that you have. So genuinely just curious, because I know you, again, to go back to the Terrifier example, I'm like, oh, like, I wasn't shocked that you would still watch the Terrifier movies, but I have seen stories of people who will, find faith or whatever it is, and suddenly everything they enjoyed, they will just cut right off. So, just out of an investigative point of view, I was curious.
That's a real thing. That's a very real thing.
Yeah.
I definitely did it. You guys can't really tell too much behind me or over there where the rest of my movies are, but yeah, in the last, 5 months, doing math. Yeah, about 5 months. Out of my collection of movies, I've purged probably 70.
Wow.
And it wasn't because I was told I'm not allowed to watch anything. It wasn't out of any of that. It just, I literally would sit down and just be looking at the movies that I own. And there were many that I was just like, this does zero for me. So it's not something I want to, I also go into terms of is this a movie I want to sit and watch with my kid? Is this a movie I want to introduce her to? Is this a story worthy enough to share with her? And if the answer is no, chances are I'm not going to keep that movie around.
Interesting.
With the exception of some of the horror movies, because I always tell her she hates horror. She absolutely hates that genre. Has no
She's
desire
got time.
to ever watch
She'll
it.
find it.
Right. So I hold on to the horror movies with the hope of maybe one day she'll surprise me and be like, you know what, Dad? Let's sit down and watch, whatever. Ironically, I did tell her, because she knows how big of a fan of the Terrifier franchise I am. And she was like, I'm never, ever watching these with you, right? And I was like, you know what? This is the one that I'm okay with you never, ever watching with me.
It's kind of like an expert level horror movie. It's not like Scream where it's very accessible.
Right. And she doesn't know what's actually in the Terrifier movies, but she knows why I love them. And she thinks that's cool because it's such a perfect callback to how horror movies, the making of it, I think should be, where it's just, it's excessive. The violence is not for everyone. The violence is gross. But you're horror fans because they're laughing during the most horrendous kill scenes. And we're usually like, this is great. We're not cheering the violence. We're cheering the practical effects. We're cheering that callback to what we love. So it's weird. It's like a crazy balancing act. But yeah, my movie watching has definitely shifted. I don't miss a lot of the stuff. You brought up American Pie. That was a franchise I did get rid of. So I had that franchise for the longest time, thought it was hilarious. I still chuckle to myself with a couple of the jokes. I've even re-quoted a couple jokes at work, which has gotten coworkers to be like, did you say that? I'm like, oh, sorry. But that was one I was just looking at and I was like, I'm probably never going to watch this movie again. So
those early 2000s comedies do not age well. Road Trip is maybe the worst of all of them.
I haven't rewatched Road Trip in a long time.
A dude cheats on his girlfriend and tries to stop the tape, and he's the hero.
And he's the hero. I do have, and even before I found Faith, dude, I've always kind of had an issue. I shouldn't say kind of. I've always had an issue with movies that romanticize adultery, romanticize cheating on partners. I think what a horrible thing to try and make okay for the culture. It's actually, that's my biggest gripe towards one of Jake's favorite movies, which is The Notebook. Is that
The Notebook?
that's my genuine gripe. So if I were to be a movie critic, it wouldn't be the movie sucks. It wouldn't be this one's just not for me. My gripe is genuinely hey, the content of this I have kind of an issue with, but that's, it's my own personal value of, hey, I take relationships and commitment pretty serious. This movie's kind of showing that you don't have to, and then using the name of love as your excuse. So that's my thing. I was trying to segue it back to critics, but
I was like, how can we get this back to Jake? Take us home.
I'm sorry, I talked for a long time, but this is what happens when you ask me deep questions like that, James. So I hope I didn't talk your ear off too much.
No, I'm sorry for derailing it, but I don't get to talk to you guys very often, and I don't. hear you guys talk about it in too much detail because the podcast is so focused, which is why I love it so much. And I've probably created the worst episode ever, so I apologize.
No,
but
I'm having a blast.
Genuinely, I was like, oh, I'd really like to hear more. Like, I'm a big fan of you guys, both personally and professionally. So it's something we haven't really heard you talk about. So I was like, oh, I'll ask. And if he shuts it down, he shuts it down. But thank you for being so candid. Like, of course, it's nice to. Yeah.
I'm not here to like shy away from stuff. I'm pretty open about everything. So.
I think it's also interesting that, like, is a movie pushing forward a positive value and in a story it's telling, whether it's this person did a bad thing and we all agree it's a bad thing, you probably shouldn't do that, or this person did a bad thing, but it's okay because they were whatever, like excused for whatever reason. That's kind of a weird thing that seems like is happening more than it used to in a way. Anyway.
So movie critics are interesting, guys.
Weird.
Sometimes you just have to take that hard left, right?
Yeah. I guess on the topic of trying to use purging movies as a segue, I as I get older try to, as a collector, I feel like there's movies that you have to have in order to be completionist. Of you're like, well, I have to have this one and I have to have that one. Yeah. But as I get older, I definitely am more able to accept this is who I am and this is what I like, and I don't really like that movie and I'm not going to watch that movie, and so I can just let go of it. And I saw an interesting thing that, like, Godfather Part 2 is one of the movies that people lie the most about liking or having even seen, and not that it's a good movie or a bad movie, it's just that people feel like they should have seen it and feel like there's a social cachet to saying, yeah, I've seen Godfather Part 2, and when they never have. Like, where's that pressure come from that you feel like you should like it, and is it because it's critically acclaimed and things like that?
I think it's tied in with the notion, I think it goes hand in hand with the discussion of the idea of a guilty pleasure movie. I was thinking about this while I was preparing for the show. There's almost this kind of like unspoken social expectation that you like this movie, you've seen this movie, you don't like this movie, you shouldn't see this movie for whatever reason. And I think, like, Godfather 2 is a really good example. There are a series of sequels that are always on the best sequels of all time list, and I roll my eyes. Like, I don't like to get negative, but I'm gonna, maybe I'm gonna give some hot takes. I don't think Godfather 2 is better than the first one. The first one is great. The second one is good, but it is long and a bit messy. I don't think Aliens is better than Alien. I think Aliens is the reason the franchise has become so fractured. Yeah. Like, Ridley Scott gave us this perfect, like, haunted house in space, and James Cameron, like, it's famous. He went into Fox and he wrote the word alien and put a dollar sign for the S. He goes, that's how we make money. The dude's... I got some feelings from James Cameron. And I don't think, and this is going to be the biggest hot take of the day probably, I think Terminator 2 is inferior to Terminator. I think it is bloated. I think there's a lot of a kid crying in the desert. It's a good movie, but I think the first one is far more interesting. But like 10 years ago, you never would have heard me say that about any of them. I'm like, oh no, Godfather is brilliant. Aliens is brilliant. Terminator 2 is brilliant. And they are. Just not to me. Like, they're just not my favorite films. And in terms of what I was saying about guilty pleasures, like, I don't believe in guilty pleasure films. Like, why would I feel bad about liking something? I'm too old. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I think you're quoting us because we did a guilty pleasure movie episode, and we say the same thing of like, we don't have any guilt over these movies.
It's like, why am I feeling like the only reason I would feel guilty is if someone made me feel bad about it, and if that person made me feel bad about watching a movie, then they're probably an idiot. Like,
it says more about them than it does about you.
Yeah, like, I don't really have that. Like, I opened this episode by saying I was at Madam Web opening night. I was the only one in the theater. And you know what? I had a great time because that is a wacky flick.
You know what? I think we've said it a couple times. Madam Web is way more entertaining than it has any right to be. And it's because it's just, like, it's not well made. And it has the worst dialogue ever. But that's what makes it so funny.
It's like, the right kind of bad, for sure.
Really, it's like The Room of superhero movies, dude.
Yes, it's not like a boring bad. That's the worst thing a movie could be, is boring.
It's hilarious. You know what was boring bad? Was Craven.
I liked Craven.
Really?
I actually, I'll finish up my thought on Madam Web and then I'll defend Craven. Madam Web, I think it's the biggest flaw in Madam Web was that the marketing team just got it wrong. It's not a Spider-Man film. Don't use that image of the costumes in the trailer. It's the only time we see them. Advertise it for what it is. A weird, unofficial Final Destination sequel. Like, that's what you should make it. It's this weird... That's what it is. Like, people be like, wait, before Final Destination 6 was even announced, be like, wait, Spider-Man Final Destination? All right, I'll check that out. Craven, the biggest problem I have with that whole franchise, I like the Venom films. I think the Venom films are fun. I think that there have been some mistakes made along the way, but I think considering you've created a whole universe about Spider-Man villains without Spider-Man, they're more enjoyable than they probably have any right to be. The problem I have with that franchise is that they didn't realize what they wanted to do until they ended it. Like, Craven's the last chapter, like, you should have gone R-rated from the first movie. Like, don't make another Spider-Man film that's PG or PG-13. Like, we've seen that a billion times before. You got Venom, who bites the heads off humans. Like, what if you had have done like and I did a whole video on this after I watched Craven, because I'd finally seen all of the Sony Spider-Man, non-Spider-Man movie universe films or whatever it was called. Like, what if
that was the official title?
I don't think
probably. Yeah, like the No Spider-Man Squad, I think it was. If they had have started like planting the seeds of Null, or even just the other symbiotes in the first movie, and then like you have like the anti-Nick Fury kind of collecting this weird assortment of misfits throughout those 6 films. Because the finale for Venom 3, The Last Dance, if you've seen it, is Venom fighting like 6 different symbiotes and all sorts of stuff, and these weird like symbiote monsters. And it's pretty visually quite cool. I would have preferred it if I had seen Craven. Like, Craven's got some interesting things in there. Like, I understand the critique that it's boring. I wasn't bored, but I can understand that critique. But, like, you got this weird Rhino who isn't Rhino, but he is Rhino. And you've got, like... I would have been like, just big swing. Just put all the weird batshit ideas that you've had for the last 6 movies and throw them into one movie. And, like, I guarantee you would have made money. But instead, they didn't know what they were doing. They couldn't commit to anything. I think they should have just been like, look... Yeah, this is the No Spider-Man franchise. You're going to see every Spider-Man villain you want, and you're never going to see Spider-Man. Deal with it. If they'd have just like kind of stuck to their guns, I think they could have pulled off something interesting. Maybe not good, but interesting. Like, I don't know. I think that they should have leaned into a tone and stuck with it from day one instead of second guessing and adjusting the way WB did for 10 years.
Yeah. They could have leaned into the memes of Morbius and
it's Morbin time.
Yeah, brought him back and leaned into the Madam Web chaos and just make it about that.
My problem with Morbius, because I watched that one as well, is that it wasn't as awful as everyone said it was. It was just kind of, I don't even remember it. It was just just not memorable for me at all. I wish it had been so bad I could have been like, oh yeah, that's awful, but it wasn't. It was just mid, as the kids say.
Yeah. The memes were way more enjoyable than the
I don't
itself.
remember Morbius at all. In fact, there was a moment when you were talking, I was like, 6 films? What was the other one? And then
I always forget about Morbius. Yeah.
You were finishing Craven, I was like, oh yeah, they did Morbius, which should have been awesome, and it just ended up being not. But
they all should have been awesome. Like,
See,
great ideas.
I think Venom is a really good example. I don't think they're good movies. And I have my issues, particularly with the second one the most.
Yeah.
Because of the PG-13 rating when you have Carnage. That should have been hard R, like, guys, graphic violence throughout this. Like, we are going to kill some people in horrible ways. That should have been what they were going to do with Carnage.
And spoilers, killed him at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Every other symbiote that no one knows in the third movie, but not Carnage.
Like, you have this character that every fanboy has just been aching to see a live-action version of, like, give us Carnage, give us Carnage. And then we got him-ish. That was my biggest disappointment. I think it was the biggest waste of the character, and I am still very pro Woody Harrelson was perfect casting for that role, and I think they just kind of wasted the talent and the potential of it. But anyways,
what we needed was natural born killers, Woody Harrelson in Venom.
Right. I will say this, like, the first Venom, not good. but it's still entertaining, even though there's a lot in it that I roll my eyes about. Like the random dancing that they had Venom do in all 3 movies was very like, this is
Yeah, the
not
musical
a
number in
good
3 is
decision.
questionable. I was like, all right,
like, what are we doing here?
this? Yeah.
But that first one, it's entertaining because it's silly, and watching Tom Hardy play that kind of character is actually kind of nice to see him play kind of like a downtrodden dude who's not the big, like, I'm so beefy, I'm Tom Hardy. The third Venom wasn't, I will give you the ending of that third Venom. I was like, okay, it's not a complete redemption, but I like watching the chaos that this movie just kind of like took. Because it tries to be serious, it tries to do its thing. It has a weird dancing sequence with the Chinese lady that just comes out of left field that you're like, wait. But the chaos of the ending, I'm like, this is what all 3 movies should have been throughout. Like 2 hours of just silly chaos. That's what it needed to be. They weren't. But Venom is a good example of like that difference between the critics and the audiences. And looking at different, I guess, Rotten Tomatoes scores or IMDb scores, it's so interesting hearing the narrative that people hate all these movies, that they're bombing, they're not making the money. One, I think more movies are failing at box office because they're pumping, what, $400 to $600 million to make a movie and then expecting it to do more.
If a movie needs to make $1 billion to break even, that's your problem.
That's your problem.
Audiences not going.
It's not theater attendance, because as someone who, not in the last couple weeks, but tries to attend a movie as often as possible.
Me too. Yeah.
The theater is pretty packed majority of the time. Even when I go to like an early morning Saturday showing, people are there, and it's pretty full.
I'm not having that experience in Australia. We really got... Yeah, Australia is, I believe, at least at the time of the airing of Game of Thrones, Australia was the #1 biggest pirating country in the world. Like, we pirate everything. And it comes down exclusively to the fact that stuff wasn't available.
Okay.
Like, we didn't
I thought
get...
it was because you were founded by criminals.
Yes.
Shots fired.
I say that as a massive pirate myself.
Yeah, I apologize. I've got my peg leg hidden at the moment.
Where's the parrot?
Like, we got Netflix... Like, we never had Netflix mail order the way you guys did, and we didn't get the streaming service until like 5 or 6 years after you guys. I think Netflix debuted in Australia in like 2015 or something. Like, we were late to stream, and that was the only streaming service we had for ages. And now people have no urgency to go to the theater. With the exception, this year was very nice. Sinners, packed theater. Great. And last night, 28 years later, packed cinema as well. But even the attitude of the people at the theater is changing. When I went to see Sinners, I was like, I didn't pre-book because I was like, it's gonna be empty theater, and I had to like get sandwiched between people, which is my least favorite thing. But I was like, all right, well, and I said to the guy, I'm like, oh, packed theater, that's good. He's like, yeah, and I was like, if you don't like your job, that's fine, but isn't it good that you still have a job? Like, this is the attitude is changing. It's so strange. I don't buy this thing, like I see it online, especially on Reddit, which I need to get off because Reddit is the worst. But people are like, the reason why I don't go to the movies anymore is because there are no good movies. And I'm like, brother, you are not looking. Like, I don't buy that. Like, we've had bad movies since someone picked up a camera. Like, for every train approaching a camera in the early 1900s, there was someone shooting rocks. Like, there's always been bad movies. Like, go back and look at like the 30s. Like, think about how many movies we're not talking about. I was just talking about like Dracula and stuff like that. There's so many movies that were made at that time that we don't talk about. You know, even Disney has stuff they hide away they don't want you to see. I'm looking at you, Song of the South. Like, there's stuff that isn't relevant anymore. There's always been bad movies. There's more movies than ever before, and that's tough. And especially, you know, when you've got 20 streaming services that have terrible interfaces and they're just trying to promote the thing they're generating, like, that's problematic. But it's not a bad movie thing. Like, there's not bad movies.
There are a lot of, I think, the movies that are the most promoted, whether it's the most marketing or that not even critics are hyping up, but just general consensus. People are like, this is the most amazing movie ever. And then I think people are disappointed when they go and see it and it's not, and they're like, well, that's a medium movie or a mid movie. Then you feel like, well, that everything I am told that should be good is not good. That definitely, I think, contributes to that feeling that there's only bad movies coming out now. But also people say only sequels are coming out now, and that's also not true. It's just that those are the ones you hear about the most are the ones that are promoted the most or have the most marketing or whatever. There's a lot of good new original movies coming out still all the time.
I mean, spoilers, Sinners is basically a remake of From Dusk Till Dawn. Don't tell anyone that. They don't want to hear it, but it basically is. But, no, you're absolutely right.
I haven't seen Sinners, but I've talked to a few people that have, and it's interesting that it made so much money that it's super hyped up, because almost with the exception of one guy, everyone else has told me, like, it's okay. Like, it's exactly what you said, Jake, where people are like, yeah, it's got some cool things, but it's not that special.
I think that was an example of really good marketing. I liked Sinners. I think it's half an hour too long, but I do like it. I'm also very aware, as I said, it's basically a remake of From Dusk Till Dawn. But the marketing was really clever. You know, the trailer didn't show you anything. You didn't know what it was going in. You knew it was a horror film of some form, but they didn't tell you what it was. It was very well designed, really well executed. They've learnt from previous trailers spoiling too much. And you have a name like Ryan Coogler attached who has had hit after hit after hit. Like, that was all they needed to do in the marketing. I think, like, that's a really good example of it done right. Going back to what Jake was saying about kind of the critics being paid, you know, well, I don't know what I'm using quotes, they're definitely being paid to guide it. There's also this other layer, and you see it with whether they're professional critics or, you know, idiots with a phone like myself. There's this whole director bias. Like, you know, it's not just, you know, this bias towards Rachel Ziegler, which I know is a sticking point on the show. But, like, you know, if Zack Snyder has a film coming out, there is a large percentage of people who want to tank that film and tell you it's terrible before it's even hit the screens because they didn't like the fact that he made Batman kill. 10 years ago, by the way. You know, if an M. Night Shyamalan film is coming out, people are going to tank that film before it comes out because they don't like that he's doing a twist ending on every film, which, by the way, is notoriously difficult to do. It's why no one else does it. Like, give the guy some credit. Like, I don't know, this director bias thing is the other thing, or it's a cast member bias. And that goes into the whole idea of cancelling. I'm also not big on cancelling people. I think there are certain people that absolutely have had more than enough chances. But, like, I remember when Aquaman, the Last Kingdom, Forbidden Kingdom, I can't remember what it's called, the Aquaman sequel. I went to go see it, and I was doing like a video. I'm like, I'm about to go see Aquaman 2. I can't remember what it's called. Not a great film, but not terrible. Like, it was really fun to see that dynamic, and everyone online was like, I'm not seeing it because the universe is closing, so what's the point? And this whole attitude, and unfortunately this is Marvel's problem, Marvel has caused this problem, is that now we have this attitude where if something's part of a contained universe, if it's not contributing to the universe, people don't want to see it. But that film should stand alone on its own. Like, when they were making, like, Toy Story, they weren't like, oh, the Toy Story universe. Do you know what I mean? Like, they just want to make a movie about talking toys. And it's interesting how that attitude has shifted. Like, people didn't go and see Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle is a wonderful movie. Like, it's a really fun flick, but no one saw it because they go, I don't care, the universe is dying. It's like, oh man, like, I don't know how to talk sense into these people, guys. Like, not every movie's part of a universe.
Doesn't need to be,
Yeah, it's hard to separate, I think, for people. Should I get invested in this story? Or I've been conditioned that I should be invested in this story beyond this movie itself. Yeah. That the movie itself could have a great story with great characters that I would love on its own, but I feel like it needs to be part of a bigger thing. And if that is not worth my time to get invested in, then maybe I won't do it, I guess, is what they're feeling. I don't know.
Talking to your thing, though, because you also mentioned no film should have to earn $1 billion, if that's a problem. That is James Cameron's fault. I'm going to point my finger at him because he's the one who did it first, and he did it twice. And suddenly studios were like, oh, well, we could do that. Let's start chasing $1 billion box office. And that's, and like, opening weekend, we have to make $500 million, $600 million. And that's why we don't see the $30 million J-Lo rom-com anymore. Like in the 2000s, every week she had something out. Made in Manhattan. Other ones. What was the one? She was like Monster-in-Law. She had all of them. She was all over the screen. J-Lo had a great time in the 2000s.
Every weekend, J-Lo had a rom-com. She had Made in Manhattan.
She did.
And some
other ones.
Yeah, her and Kate Hudson had the monopoly on rom-coms.
I would have gone the route of like Matthew McConaughey because that did own the rom-com like genre.
Yeah. Well, they have the most perfect crossover in Wedding Planner.
It's true.
Yes.
It's true.
And How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I just mentioned Kate Hudson. So it all...
Yeah.
If they had have made a love triangle film with the three of them, that would have made $1 billion in the mid-2000s.
That's the nexus of the universe, I think.
But this whole need to chase $1 billion, the whole need to chase $1 billion is insane to me. And that's the other reason why I think people aren't going to the theaters. Is like over time, the ticket prices have gone insane. Like, like there are a couple of different theater chains here in Australia. If you go to one of the major ones, it is $30 to go and see a movie. $30. Like for that price, I could just buy the Blu-ray, and I will buy the Blu-ray. We have one chain, who are like a discount chain, and if you're a member with them, you can get a ticket for $8.50. Great, that's what I do all the time. But it shouldn't cost you like $30 per person to go and see a movie, and the reason it costs you that much,
that's not the like
that's
buying
the
a popcorn.
Ticket.
Okay.
No. If I go to a major chain, well, actually, I went to the movies last night. It would have I paid $30 for popcorn, drink, and an ice cream. Because in Australia we have a choc top. It's a staple. You must have a choc top. And $30 for tickets. So $60 for one person to go to a movie.
Damn.
Oh.
If I take my daughter, and I always take her to the discount cinema because she doesn't know, she's 4. What does she know? Like I can keep it under $50. But like if we went and saw the first movie she ever went and saw was Super Pets. And it was we went to we have, I don't know if you have them in America, but we have like children's cinemas. Worst idea in the world because it's got a slide and toys. I'm like, why would you put distractions there?
Yeah.
Superman's up on the screen. That's the distraction.
Right.
It cost us $120 or something for the three of us to go to the movies.
Whoa.
This is why people aren't going.
Yeah, that's why people go maybe once a year because it's
you
like
could
the cost of a vacation.
If you keep your ticket prices low, because it's not the theaters. It's the studios. They determine how much it costs to rent the reel or, the digital file. And then, like, there's almost no margin. There's a really great, I don't know what episode it was, but Kevin Smith owns a movie theater now in New Jersey. And he talked about it. He goes, the reason why my popcorn's so expensive is because the cheapest margin. I don't make anything off movie tickets. You could make $1 billion selling $5 movie tickets because if they're $5, people will go again and again and again. Like... When I lived in my old place, when I used to live around the corner from a movie theater, and I had Wednesdays off. Every Wednesday I was at a matinee. I was going to the movies at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, because it was like $10 to go to the movies. So I just go all the time. But like $30 just for a ticket's insanity, and that comes down to I know COVID hit the industry. I'm not crazy. Like I know it hit the industry. But people will go to the movies if they can afford it. Like, oh, the biggest financial crisis we've had in 20 years. What are we going to do? Make things more expensive? Oh, that works. Like, like it shouldn't cost more than your groceries to go to the movies. Like, what are you talking about?
That's crazy.
It's insane.
Right, so especially for a non-essential thing like that.
Yeah, I feel like I shouldn't share this with you, but that you're paying outrageous amounts for my daughter and I to go, including popcorn, because we always get popcorn and a drink. Honestly, dude, we end up paying like $30 for her and I to go to a film.
So if you...
That's about right. I was just looking at the conversion rate, and one Australian dollar is 65 cents.
It's about the same. Yeah, it's about the same. So our dollar is not as strong as yours. Pretty much everything we have is not as strong as America's.
Well, I would also say, like,
shit
this is one of those examples, and because I do one of our big chains over here, most places have like the membership reward program or whatever. It is worth it. Like, it's pretty crazy.
That's why I'm on mine.
Yeah, like when you see that discount get put on, and you're like, "Ooh, yeah!" Like, now I don't feel so bad for getting popcorn.
That's why I'm with my chain. Like, I get 15% off a movie ticket, makes it $8.50, 10% off all my snacks. Perfect. I'll do it. It costs me less than $20 to go to the movies, so that's why I'll do that one. But most people aren't thinking like that. They're not looking because they don't care anymore. They just assume it's expensive. If you do look, you can find it. But most people aren't doing that. But Yeah. Also, like I don't know if they do it in America, but all the premium chains now offer free popcorn refills. Biggest scam in the world. No one's leaving the theater halfway through to get more popcorn. Like, what are you talking about? Like, put a trough in the cinema and I'll go down with my bucket, but don't make me leave the movie.
We'll fill the bucket as we're leaving the theater to take it home.
Nice.
Yeah, the one I typically go to, they do the free refill. If you get like the extra large popcorn, we don't get it for the refill, but the extra large, depending on the movie, my kid can put down some popcorn during a movie.
Yeah.
Like that kid, if she's into it, I will reach into that bucket 10 minutes, 15 minutes into a movie. And it's like, dude.
Yeah. Mine too. I have to close the box. I'm like, kid, the trailers haven't even started yet. Like, it's cool. Like, I'm always rolling her out like Violet Beauregard at the end of Willy Wonka. She's just like a giant popcorn kid. Like,
when we
it's
went,
4.
I remember when we went and saw Dungeons and Dragons, we were excited to watch it. We had our popcorn. We're sitting down. The movie, like, we always try to not eat popcorn during the trailers. We wait till the movie starts so that we have popcorn to eat. Especially if we're watching like an action movie where we know, it's the cliche. The action happens and you
popcorn
just start.
Flick.
Yeah. It's a real thing. That movie kicked in, and I was engrossed in it. My daughter's engrossed in it, and it was like shortly after the opening sequence at the prison, and I reached for the popcorn, and it was empty. And I looked at my daughter like, did you just eat all the popcorn? This is a 2-hour movie that's going to get more fun and more exciting. And now we have no popcorn to like cram in our faces. She thought it was hilarious. The movie got out and she was like, I love the movie, Dad. All I could think of was like, you ate all the popcorn. Like, I wanted
completely
popcorn.
ruined it for me.
Yeah, you need that balance with the soda as well. It's like, I've had too much sweet. I need that saltiness to...
Oh, see, I just stick with the water and she gets icy.
Yeah, sure.
So.
We're the opposite. I won't give... My kid doesn't drink soda yet. I'm like, sorry, kid. That's Dad's drink. You can have water. Maybe she gets a juice if she's lucky.
Yeah, but like, man, it does get really expensive going to movies. That's why I typically try to hit up like the early morning showing and the first showing of the day on a Saturday, or if I have a day off in the middle of the week, hit up that first showing. Dude, it's like less than 10
Yeah,
bucks.
I'll always take my kid to the early showing. If I'm going by myself, I go weird times. I'll go, like, that's why I can't like vouch for the theaters properly, because I'll go at like 9:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. Like,
no wonder you're at an empty theater.
Because I got a kid, man. Like, she still like needs a bath and bedtime routine. Like, she needs her mum and dad and stuff like that. So I'll be like, all right, well, I'll do this, and then 9:30 I'll go catch it. Like, I start at 9 in the morning. It's not a big deal. But but like, but even still, like, even when I go on like Fridays and Saturdays, a lot of the time, like, we went to Lilo and Stitch, and the theater was like a quarter full. And it was opening weekend, and it was a matinee. It was a perfect time for kids to go. Minecraft was fuller. That was good. Like, Minecraft was pretty full, but yeah. Lilo and Stitch, I was kind of surprised, based on all the reviews, how it's the most amazing thing that's ever been made, according to reviews.
According to reviews, my daughter detests that movie. Like, she hates it so much.
It's fine. Like, it's not bad. It's definitely one of the better remakes they've done. But also, I feel like everyone who said it was brilliant had just experienced Lilo and Stitch for the first time. I was like, oh, yeah, they made this 20 years ago because Lilo and Stitch was brilliant back then. So if you haven't seen it, then yeah, it's probably really impressive. I didn't mind the change. I know you guys were talking about the whole going to college thing. People who have given you that information has not given you all the information. It's actually a little bit nicer than that.
That's good.
But like, it makes sense with the plot. You're like, oh no, like, it's cool. Like, she doesn't abandon her sister. Like, the foster care that it is her boyfriend's family that looks after Lilo. So it's not like it's some strange or whatever. Like, it's within the family still. But yeah, like, it's fine. It made me cry. Like, every film makes me cry. I cried in Venom 3. That's a sentence I never thought I'd say. I cried twice in Venom 3. Yeah, so I just cried at everything. Yeah.
Okay. I used to think I cried at everything, but
oh boy, I love a cry. I can't cry in real life. I'm broken. But in movies, I'll cry all the time.
That's awesome.
Critics, guys, we got to talk about these critics.
Yeah, critics. We started with a subject.
I think we've addressed a really important thing, though. I think we're starting to understand why people aren't going to the movies, and that's important work.
Mm-hmm. And I do think critics have a role in that. And I think one of the main last things I wanted to bring up was you had mentioned, James, the score and putting a score on a movie as this movie is a 8 out of 10 or whatever. And I think there's a problem, like you said, I agree with you, that chasing in art, particularly and specifically subjective material like that, chasing a arbitrary or objective score is a problem. And also feeling like you need to have the most perfect thing possible, that this thing, I'm not going to see this movie unless it is great or unless it's perfect or unless it's whatever. And how do you measure that? Everybody has to agree that this is great before I'll go see it. That's also why they're not going to theaters. But I think there's just a weird obsession with that quest for perfection, that this movie, unless it's over a 7.5, then it's not going to be worth my time. Strange, I think. And I think
bonkers.
And I think that, but I do think that that's the case. I think that people are like, I will only want to see movies that are great. That's kind of the reason critics exist, it seems like to me, is I only want to see the best movies. Show me those. Let me know, is this one of the best movies or not? Because practically, I don't have time to watch all the movies, and I would like to know if this is worth my time or not. But also, I don't know. I think that if I'm going to watch a movie, I want to see a great movie. And so is this or not? I guess it makes sense to have a score in that regard. But there's also so many movies. I saw a thing recently that someone was talking about. There are so many 7 out of 7 movies or 6 out of 6 movies. And what that means is that the movie is not trying to be a 10. It's not trying to be the best movie ever made. It's just but it is great at what it is. It achieves everything that it sets out to, and so it's perfect at what it's meant to be, and that's in the 6 or 7 range. And so it's a 6 out of 6 movie, which is perfect. It's exactly what it should be.
Well, the problem I have, you mentioned, you're just saying like how people like it needs to hit a certain score. I'm not going to watch it. I want to see the best of the best films. The problem I have with that logic is, again, it comes down to taste, but also the motivation of the people reviewing it. Like, and I think the perfect example of this is the Academy Awards. Like, the Academy Awards supposedly is, measuring the best of the best of the best. Yep. But like, until recently, I wasn't watching anything that was being nominated. Like, even like, I've been a fan of movies since I was 3 years old, and I wasn't paying attention. I would watch the Academy Awards because I like to see the famous people. I like to see the jokes and stuff like that. But like, until only recently did I try to start watching everything that was nominated. And first of all, it's almost impossible to find unless you're going to indie movie houses, because a lot of them aren't getting wide release over here in Australia. But even then, it's like
a lot of the time, just so you know.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, but then also like there's, and I hesitate to use the word agenda because I think that's a very powerful word and it means something very specific to specific people. But it does feel like in certain places there is an agenda behind a film. I think a perfect example, and I'm ready for the comments, is something like Emilia Perez, which I haven't seen, but like I think had one of the biggest margins between critics and audiences of the last decade. Yeah. I haven't seen it. Apparently, we saw Brian Rupert sing the Penis and Vagina song. It was very entertaining on the Movie Bonus Award. But like, I don't know how many people were motivated to go and see that, or even checking out. Or like The Brutalist, which I still haven't seen, which is 3.5 hours long. Or going back and use The Irishman, which had the best chance to succeed because it had Scorsese, it had De Niro, it had Pesci, it had Pacino, everything you would want. But it's not Goodfellas. Like, it's not anything that Scorsese made 30 years ago. Like, it's a great flick, but you have to be a very patient audience member to enjoy that movie. Even something like Killers of the Flower Moon is a wonderful film. But boy, you don't feel good after that, and you've got to sit through a lot of horrible stuff to get the message of that story. So I feel like people are like, well, I don't watch the best films. Well, first of all, best is subjective. But even still, like, what do you mean by best versus what is being sold to you as the best? Like, I think that's a fool's errand. And I apologize for anyone who wants to watch the best, but you're a fool. I'm sorry, it's a fool's errand. Like, best is subjective.
Well, it's very subjective. I mean, you ask anyone, hey, what's your favorite movie of all time? Chances are someone's going to list one that you're like, I can't stand that movie. But it's the basis of your whole show, dude, where it's like movies you don't like are probably someone's favorite and vice versa. There's plenty of movies that, like, Jake and I have listed off as our favorites before that, people are like, what? Why is that on your list? And it's like, because it just hits that, it's for me. That's what I like it.
And I've never heard someone say that, Citizen Kane is their favorite movie of all time.
Dude.
But I constantly hear people say Predator is their favorite movie of all time, or Happy Gilmore, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
yes,
Citizen Kane's
Happy
really
Gilmore
good.
should be.
Yeah, so psyched for HG2 coming soon. Should be getting theatrical release. I'm bummed that it's not. Citizen Kane's a really good example because that's a movie I'd put off watching for ages because I was like, "There's no way." It's been hyped up so much. It's on the best movie list of all time for every list. There's no way. And I watched it, and I was exactly right to be nervous about watching. I'm like, it's for its time, it's good. But I can think of a dozen movies from the same era I like better. I like 12 Angry Men better. You know, I like To Kill a Mockingbird better. I like Casablanca better. I just watched 7 Universal Monsters movies, all of which I like better than Citizen Kane.
So much better.
Like, do you know what I
remember,
mean?
Watching Citizen Kane. We watched it in a film class that I took, and I was stoked to watch it because it's the best movie ever made. I was like, this is going to be crazy. Like, finally get to see this thing. And to quote the Joker, it was just so boring. I had zero interest in the story. I couldn't care less about Rosebud by the time, all that comes about. I was like, this is what's considered the greatest of all time. Like, the acting's good. I'll give it that. Not the best acting I've ever seen. You just brought up, 12 Angry Men and To Kill a Mockingbird. Like, Gregory Peck kind of kills it as Atticus. Casablanca.
The Simpsons did it better. Like,
The Simpsons did it. I've always, that's kind of like when I realized how little I cared about the quote unquote perfection of Citizen Kane. I think that's when I don't want to listen to critics really kicked in. Of course, then I became my own worst enemy when it came to movies, like 3 years after that. But
I'm so glad you mentioned I don't want to listen to critics. I had 2 things I was like, I must mention these. This is most of the planning I've done. There are 2 critic stories I had that I want to talk about. And the first is the first review I ever remember reading and disagreeing with. I was about 12 years old. Because what I used to do, I was a dweeby little nerd, didn't have a lot of friends. So on the weekends when my parents would work, I would get the Herald Sun, which is the Australian tabloid newspaper. It's owned by Rupert Murdoch, so you know it's full of lies. But I would go to the film section and read the reviews. I used to love doing that. What's out this week? What's being reviewed? And I still remember, he's still working today. The reviewer's name was Lee Patch. And I couldn't find this review and I wanted to. And this is when I became disillusioned. I was 12 years old and I'd just seen a movie the previous weekend with my dad and I wanted to see what the review was. And all I remember from was the last line was, ultimately this movie is fast and stupid. I guess if you're into that sort of thing, you might like it. And it was sold as a negative. And the whole idea was that if you like fast and stupid movies, you're an idiot. And I was like, but I'm 12. I'm supposed to like fast and stupid movies. And the movie was XXX. And
I mean, that is a fast and kind of stupid
It
movie,
is fast and stupid, but it's not a bad thing to like fast and stupid things.
No.
So I remember I was trying to find the article. I was looking everywhere for it. It's not available online to the best of my knowledge. But he's still an active critic today. And once I read that, I'm like, well, you're not thinking about the audience. You're thinking about you. Even at 12, I knew I was like, I'm part of the fast and stupid crowd right now. I'm a 12-year-old boy. I should like XXX. And for you to say that no one should like it, and if you like it, you're inferior, then how can I trust anything you say? And maybe that's how I'm going to feel about all critics. And it is kind of how I feel about all critics. The more recent one I can think of was back in 2021, I want to say. Mark Bernardin, I don't know if you know him. He's a writer, comic book guy. He's on one of the Kevin Smith podcasts. Dig him. I love his takes on film. I think he's a fantastic storyteller. But he's got a real Zack Snyder thing. He's very anti-Zack Snyder for whatever reason. And he was, when the Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League came out, I watched it opening night, loved it, as we all did. Like, it was just like, like, this is what it was meant to be. This is fantastic. Yep. What a great flick. And he came in on the podcast, and it was like, well, there was a lot of slow motion, and it was the same BS that I'm used to seeing with Zack Snyder. It's not my thing. And I was like, fair enough. You've had a bias against him the entire time. He then, in the same breath, went on to talk about how much he loved and how, like, wonderful Godzilla vs. Kong was. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, nothing against Godzilla vs. Kong, but, like, you have to hold them to the same... Like, these are fast and stupid CGI monster movies. Like, you can't, like, hold them to, like, different expectations. Like, if Kong can go into the middle of Earth to the under-Earth and find a glove or an axe or whatever it is, how is that, like, objectively better than Barry running back in time and reconstructing the universe? Like, and it's a taste thing, and that's fine. Like, my opinion is I like Zack Snyder's Justice League better than Kong. But he was saying, as a critic, critically, Godzilla vs. Kong has more artistic merit than Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm like, that I have a problem with. Because those are big, like they're stupid movies. They're both stupid movies. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. But once you start wearing your underwear on the outside and you can run faster than time and you're stronger than a planet, like, that's kind of silly. And that's why we love it. Like, and that's why we can't take these things too seriously. But I'm like, you can't objectively say, like, oh, well, the artistic merit of Godzilla versus Kong when they stand on aircraft carriers and punch each other. What are you talking about? Like, that's insanity to me.
It's a beat-up movie, yeah.
Yeah, it's... See, I love the Godzilla and Kong films. My daughter, I mean, we're big Godzilla fans in this house. But we love, especially like those, because they know what they need to be. They know exactly what they are. They are fun, just giant, chaotic monster movies. Like, we know how it's going to go. We know we're going to be entertained. And my daughter and I soak up every second of it. We're just like, this is the greatest thing ever. Of course, we say that about a lot of the stuff that we watch, because it's like you, where we just, when we plan ourselves into a place of, like, it's a movie at the end of the day, like, let it entertain me. Hopefully it does. And kind of go in a little bit forgiving from the get-go. But
that's why we like Mission Impossible. Like, Mission Impossible is not reflective of true spy work. Do you know what is? Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and it's a great flick, but that is medicine. Like, it is slow.
It's so like slow.
It's very slow. It's well made. It's got great actors in it, but, like, we don't want real. Like, if you want to see what Godzilla vs. Kong really looks like, throw a lizard into a tank with a monkey, see what happens. Like, probably not as... Well, actually, that might be kind of entertaining. I've kind of ruined my point
for
there.
A minute, yeah.
Yeah, that could be kind of fun. But do you know what I mean?
If we wanted real when it comes to Godzilla and Kong, like, hate to break it to humanity, but the destruction would not just be the buildings that they tear down. It's like they would actually kill us.
Scores of people.
Right, like, that would be, there wouldn't be a, yay, the monsters saved us. It'd be, oh, we're dying.
This sucks. We were wrong.
Right, we were wrong.
I can't believe I said it was better than Justice League.
Yeah, I remember it was like shortly after, I can't remember what movie it was, but there was a time where I subscribed to Entertainment Weekly. And there were two critics that every time they were the writer for a movie I was looking the most forward to, their reviews would be like multiple pages of just dismantling everything about a movie. And I remember every time just being like, did they not watch the same movie? Like, what are they doing trying to, tear it all down like this? I can't remember I remember their first names, but one was named Lisa, it started with an S, and the other was Owen.
I was about to say it was Owen Gleiberman because I pulled a quote from him.
Yes.
He said about Forrest Gump that it was glib and shallow and monotonous and a movie that spends too much time sanctifying its hero despite his innocence, he ends up seeming about as vulnerable as Superman. And I was like, Forrest Gump is one of my favorite movies of all time, possibly
You talked
favorite
about
movie
it
of
on
all
my
time.
show, yeah.
And I would not say it's monotonous or shallow in any way, and that the best part of Forrest Gump is that he's certainly vulnerable more than anyone gives him credit for. And so that you're just saying, I didn't get this movie, or this movie is not for me, but you're trying to use your platform as a tastemaker to say that this is what it is.
Yeah.
Could you imagine being paid to watch movies and talk about them? The thing that I think, I don't know, your personal lives, I imagine something we all kind of aspire to do, like the best version of what we do right now as podcasters is to get paid to talk about movies. Could you imagine being on a payroll? You get to see movies early for free, and then you get paid to talk about them and finding no joy in that. Like, can you imagine that?
It'd be the worst, man. I can't imagine it. It's not just the fact that they get to see these movies for free, but they're actually like invited to watch early, like the early screening. Like you get the exclusive in, probably a little Q&A with the filmmakers and the like a star or two.
And the studio's inviting them, want them to have the best experience possible, so that they can have...
so they're getting schmoozed. They're getting like all this, here, have all, I'm not sure all the details, but yeah, to go into it and just hate everything that you're reviewing and watching, like, just quit.
I can talk from experience. I got schmoozed. Ballerina, we got like free cocktails. I don't drink, so I didn't partake. We got free popcorn. They gave us like this little like collectible coin for the Continental, so we've got one of those and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
And and at the end of it, I was like, can I do this every day? Like, you don't have to pay me for it, but like, this is amazing. Like, and it didn't impact the way I enjoyed the film, but it was nice. Like, it was nice to get free popcorn
Better
and get
than
like
not getting it, for
getting
sure.
a little collectible token. Like, we got schmoozed, and we're idiots. We're three idiots from Melbourne, Australia. We have no impact on the film industry. And Maddie and Nick, if you're listening, I'm sorry for calling you idiots, but you know yourselves. You're friends with me, of course you are. But like, I just can't imagine ever. Yeah, like I agree with you, Dustin. If I got to the point, if I went back to the way I was pre-podcast, pre-pandemic, where I was hating all the movies I watched, I would just stop. I'd be like, you know what? It's time to move on to something else. Like, why am I going to put my through something that I actively don't enjoy?
Yeah.
Like, it just seems so strange. Like,
I
think this modern version of criticism, which is less the paid critics and more, everyone with a cell phone who just, records their thoughts. It's all about clout. It's clickbait. It's just like, I saw one recently. What was it? I don't know who the guy is, and I wouldn't give him screen time anyway. Like, we don't need to send more people to his page, but he was talking about a movie recently, and everything he was talking was just trash about it, and all the comments were like, "Do we watch the same movie?" Like, now you're clearly just doing this for attention, and that's what it is. It's just about getting. That's why, like, my podcast and my page will have far less listeners or subscribers than most of the other ones out there, because we just don't take the time or waste energy to talk poorly on stuff. It's like there are a billion people out there doing it, like. I don't know about you guys, but there's enough. Like, look outside your window, especially in America. Like, is it positive out there right now? Like, I don't want to get political, but like maybe Happy Gilmore 2 is the cure to what ails us right now. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it seems like so much is just rage bait that they're trying to put out a contrarian opinion so that people will click on it. It's not how they actually feel. But I also wonder. We see on Rotten Tomatoes that the audience score generally tends to be quite a bit higher than the critics score. And I wonder how much of it is because critics are going to a movie because they have to for their job. And they're not choosing the movie because it's something that they're interested in and have a good inclination that they will like it. And that's what the audience is doing. They're like, I like that thing. I like that actor. I like that type of movie. So I will go see it. I'm more inclined or more likely to enjoy it for that reason. A critic is going to a movie because they have to. They could end up in The Notebook and not be into those kinds of movies at all and be like, yeah, it was exactly what it is and it sucks and I don't care for it. I just didn't go into it wanting to like it even. And it's just two completely different paradigms, audiences and critics in that regard.
I'm at the point now, and I think I told you guys this when you were on my show, I don't watch trailers anymore. Unless it's like, look, I'm going to watch Superman trailer. I want to see Superman. Like, but like if it's a franchise that I'm already eager about, I'll watch it. Everything else, I won't watch it unless I'm forced to in the theater. Like Together, that new Alison Brie flick, I hadn't, like, the trailer came out. I like her, I like him. I was like, I'm not going to watch the trailer. I want to go in as blind as possible. To the point now when I buy my movies, if it's something I haven't seen before, I do no research. I'm like, you know what? Box art. I'm going back to VHS video blockbuster days. That looks cool. I'm going to buy it and, like, let's see what happens. I wish, and I'm not saying I'm doing the right thing, but I wish more people would treat film watching. Like when we were younger, like if you went to the cinema and the movie you wanted to see had sold out, you either went home or you'd watch something else. And chances are you're already there, you'll just choose something else. And that's how you discovered, like, what your taste really is. Same with the video store. Like, yes, your parents will let you go to the kids section and you try and get, like, the new Disney or whatever it is. But chances are the thing you want is probably out. You're like, well, I'll take a swing at this and see what happens. And I feel like in a world of streaming, in a world of critic-led box office, we're given variety, but we're not being given the decision-making process anymore. They're like, I will choose for you. You want to see this. And I wish people would go in blind more. Like, I find that it's like a lucky dip, or, you know, if you want to get really dark about it, Russian roulette. Like, yeah, there's a chance things could go wrong, but chances are you're probably going to find something you like if you go in blind. So,
I fully support that. Jake and I have talked about this of, like, man, trailers. I missed the teaser trailer. One of my favorite examples, and I'll never forget it. It wasn't even a trailer; it was a poster. It was for the first Men in Black movie. All the poster was, all it was Mr. Smith, Mr. Jones, MIB. That was it. There was no alien on it. There was nothing. I remember.
I remember that one. I think there was a second one and it said "protecting you from the scum of the earth," but there was no imagery. I think that tagline was on one of them.
That may have been the second one, but the first one was so minimalist, and I remember just seeing just the names and being like, "Yeah, I want to watch that." Just based on the poster. That poster's cool. I just want to watch it.
Yeah.
Well, that brings up. Oh, sorry.
There is an oversaturation of information that I think between the trailer, between the critics breaking down all the details, and then just media in general oversharing spoilers and things. Everybody knows
a month
knows
before
everything
a movie comes
about.
out now. You got someone posting like, "Oh, this happens," and it's all right.
Yeah, you know everything about the exciting parts of that movie before even seeing it anymore. And so, yeah, I totally agree with you, James, that it's you know too much, and you need to go in a little bit more blind, I think, in order to have an authentic experience with movies. A lot of times.
And touching on what you said, Dustin, like, it opens up a whole other conversation, and we've been going for 2 hours, so I won't go too deep into it. But the art of the poster, like, seems to be lost these days. Like, and Marvel, again, like, I love those movies. I like all of them. I like all those Marvel movies. I'll defend the Marvels. I'll defend it all. I like them all. But boy, like, the art department could do with a bit of a kick in the pants. It's like, hey, like, no more floating heads. We know Robert Downey Jr. is in this one. You want to know why? 'Cause he was in the last 10. Like, you don't need to put him on there. Like, show me something cool. And every now and then, like, horror seems to be doing it best. They're kind of doing cool posters still in that genre. But for the most part, like, it comes back to what we're talking about. It's like the box office. We're putting the stars front and center, floating heads. Like, what happened to, like, the Drew Struzan, you know, like, artwork of the 80s, like those old Indiana Jones ones. And, like, yes, you could argue, well, there's floating heads on that one. Yeah, but it wasn't, like, about Harrison Ford. Like, it was about the adventure. Like, the Star Wars one, like, Star Wars, New Hope. Like, what an iconic imagery. Like, yes, it's all the stars, but you didn't know what a Star Wars was. You didn't know who, like, Mark Hamill was. It was all about, I don't know, it's just a lost art, and it bums me out. Every now and then we see a couple of cool ones come through, but again, it's all about, like, don't worry about the story. Don't worry about the movie. You need to know that Scarlett Johansson is in this. I'm like, I know she's in it because, like, her name is on the poster. We all know who ScarJo is. It's fine. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, we just did an episode kind of comparing art and business in movies and how they conflict with each other. And that definitely is a case that I miss the art side of posters being much heavier, that there was an art form and a physical artist creating them, and it just added to the whole movie experience. And now it's just, that's gone, and it's all business focused, and contractually you have to have their name and face on every poster in every position, or they just have to, and it doesn't actually help the audience because they don't really care. They already know all those things, like you said.
I think it is funny you did bring it up, James. Like, horror seems to be kind of the last man standing in terms of like, we're just having fun. We know our lane. We know what we're doing with the posters, with the like, we don't cast big names 90% of the time. Usually because your cast is going to get killed off in the first hour and you might have one or two survivors. But yeah, horror to me seems to be actively trying to hold on to some semblance of like joy of just making a movie for what it is, knowing what they're doing and not trying to, for the most part, and
I think it maintains
to, like,
the most creativity as well.
Yeah, and they're having fun, you know? I still think one of the most effective posters in the last few years was actually The First Omen. Like, the simplicity of their posters, and a lot of horror posters will rely on just simplicity. Like, just basic. You brought up Final Destination earlier. Their posters are effective.
Yeah.
Like, I remember just a skull. Like, when Part 5 came out, all it was the skull with the number 5 on it. And immediately I knew what it was. Immediately it was like, oh, I'm totally going to watch that. Like, not a guilty pleasure, but man, the Final Destination is one of my favorite franchises because they're just so entertaining. Like, how are you not entertained by that franchise? But just seeing the 5 and that skull, like, well, yeah, you have my money right now.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, I'm the maniac in the cinema. Like we talked about before, laughing. Like when I went and saw Bloodlines, there was a very empty. Like, you know, the kills may be less creative than previous installments, but they've also done like 400 kills. So after a while, there's only so many everyday items that can become.
It's okay if you overlap or just kind of do it. Yeah.
But like when, you know, I'll spoil this one because it was in the trailer. When the lawnmower thing happens, terrifying in real life. Just crying with laughter. I'm sure like people will like stay away from that guy. He's wearing a hoodie and he's laughing at violence. Just keep away. But yeah.
I don't mean to bring it up again, but when I saw Terrifier 3, I was the guy in the chainsaw shower scene. I was laughing so hard during that. Not because it was like actually funny. It kind of was just how much, like, every time you think, oh, he's done, close up of the, you know, the next dismemberment, and it's like, this is so ridiculous, I can't help but laugh. But there's like, you can tell they actually care. I don't know. It sounds silly to say that with some of like horror where it's campy and silly, like Final Destination or the Terrifier franchise, but you can tell they care because you're drawn into it. Like, you can't look away. And if you're looking away, it's because the movie is actually affecting you, which in a lot of ways, the filmmakers want to affect you. So if they can get you to turn your way because you're like, I can't believe they put that on screen, they did their job right.
Yeah.
So
that's the great paradox of the art form, because I believe both things to be true. There's certainly, aside from my family, the most important thing in my life. Like, film is empirically important to me. It's not just silliness or a splash of blood on screen for 2 hours or whatever the case may be. It's storytelling, and that's the thing that is uniquely common among all humans. To get philosophical, if we have one thing in common, we're all storytellers. Whether you write or sing or make movies, or you're just telling someone about your day at work, like, we're all storytellers. So they're empirically important to me because it's just a great communication skill. I host a podcast now and can talk forever, clearly, but I couldn't when I was a teenager. Like, I was the timid guy, and like through watching films, I did an episode a few years back about mental health. It was last year, sorry, and I talked about how Clerks changed my life. Like, I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't know how to communicate with people. But that movie made me laugh. I was like, oh, I guess I'll just make that my personality, which is, I don't recommend, by the way. Try and connect with humans in a regular way, but I couldn't. But, like, it changed my life forever. Like, that movie, regardless of how I feel about it over time, I still love it. But, you know, I might not in 10 years, but that's such an important film. It'll always be special to me. So, films are the most important thing in the world. But the paradox of it is, they're also not. And we don't need to take it too seriously, and we don't need to hold it to this standard where it's on a pedestal and anything that falls below a 10 is trash. Like, they're both the most important thing in the world, but they're also not, and we need to just enjoy them for what they are. The beauty of them is that they have all this power, but it's only the power we give to them, and we can just enjoy them for what they are. And I promise that's as poetic as I'll get.
I think it's beautiful.
Get the tissues, wipe your tears, boys. Yeah, that adds nothing to the conversation, by the way.
No, I think it's a really good way. Yeah, I think it's a really good way to wrap it in a bow.
I'd say in terms of like critics, I think if critics focused more on the movie is what it needs to be. Like, is it what it is trying to be? There's your critique. Yeah. You know, like what you said, Jake, the 6 out of 6 or the 7 out of 7. Like, hey, here's what this movie's trying to do. It's a rom-com. They're all the same formula. Is it perfect? No. Is it what it needs to be? Yep. There you go.
Yeah. And I think you get more value hearing somebody who loves something talk about it. Like hearing you, James, talk about the Clerks, or hearing you just talk about Terrifier or any other movie. As a horror fan, you care about it in a much deeper way than any critic who doesn't like that goes and sees it. And so when they go and see it, they'll say, it was mindless, it was nonsense, it was noise, it was whatever. And that hurts my soul when someone says, BVS is trash, BVS is chaos and empty and vapid, and there's nothing to connect to there. Because I deeply connect to it on a deep spiritual personal level with those characters and those situations and that storytelling. And so for someone to say that it's not there is ridiculous. But that's their criticism, and it's weird to put it in like a formal way. I think it's much more enjoyable to hear somebody who actually likes something describe it. And maybe it's for you, maybe it's not, but also maybe that's kind of the point of our show, I think, is maybe you'll be encouraged to try something that you wouldn't normally try because somebody spoke about it in a way that you'd never considered. You're like, oh, that's actually interesting, and that's different than what I thought it would be because of that.
We've had that actually happen a couple times on our show, Jake. Jake has had these moments, as you know, James, where he'll let me know, hey, we're going to watch this movie. You don't know anything about it, but we're going to watch it and then talk about it. And I'm like, oh, okay. He did it to me with The Empty Man, and he did it to me with Coherence. And I went into both movies completely blind, knew nothing about either movie. With Coherence, Jake made it abundantly clear. Do not watch anything on this. Don't do anything. You just click play and watch. And, going in that blind and hearing how excited he was about both of them definitely made me like more, oh, okay. Because I know Jake's style. I know what he enjoys. I know what he doesn't. I know what he respects, which is a big thing for me too, because there's a lot of movies that we don't agree. Maybe a lot isn't the right word. There's a couple movies we don't agree on, but Jake can still have like a respect for what the movie is or what it does. And I think that's also something that's been lost, is there can still be a respect for like, hey, this isn't for me, but here's something like, I respect what they're doing. I respect the impact that it's had, but yeah, going in blind, but hearing his excitement for those two movies, I became absolutely obsessed with those movies. And I think I talk about them almost more than I do my top 10 favorite movies, which is wild.
Well, the secret selfish agenda of my show is just to get recommendations. Like, that's the secret. Like, you know, if people tell me it's a top 5 of theirs, I'm like, all right, well, there's a reason. Like, after doing our 80s focus back in the first year or whatever, 3 separate people said Steel Magnolias. I'd never seen it before.
Dude, that's a great movie.
And I was like, this is amazing. I'm like, Pretty Woman came up multiple times, and I never watched Pretty Woman. I'm like, oh, I would have hated this when I was 16, but I love it now. Like, I'm so glad I went. And you guys have been instrumental both on my show when you came on and also just listening to your show. Like, I watched Death Sentence and Law Abiding Citizen because of your revenge show. And then I went on a whole revenge spiral. I was like, I've got to watch more of these now. It was nice to have revenge films that weren't, retaliations to sexual abuse. It was nice to have revenge films that didn't rely on the most lowest of tropes. Like it's, do you know what I mean? So that was really good. What else did I watched Iron Claw because of you guys. You talked about Iron Claw, and I was going to check that one out. And even on my show last year, Dustin, we were talking about your favorite movies, and you brought up The Dark Knight, or specifically Nolan's Batman trilogy. Like, I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to put all three. I was like, fair enough. And I asked you, I was like, look, I love The Dark Knight, but there's a glaring issue in that film for me that I really struggle with, and it's the third act. I go, once, you have to have the death of Harvey Dent. Spoilers, by the way, for a film that's very old. The death of Harvey Dent, like, and all that. I really don't dig that. And you sold it to me in such a way that I was like, oh, I'm now reconsidering every thought I've ever had about The Dark Knight. Like, you put it in such a way. And it comes back to what you were saying, Jake, about, like, it's more important to hear people who are passionate about these things talk about, because that's what'll sell the film. Like, a critic's review isn't going to sell me on a movie. I just don't trust them anymore.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not going to trust a critic, but if someone just went up, if you just got Dustin to come out of the theater and be like, man, I love this, I didn't like this is great, I'd be like, that is more interesting than any review I could ever read. And I would also like to point out, and this is very bitchy of me, how many movie critics do you know that have made films? That is a question I think is probably worth pointing out as well.
Those who can't do critique.
Yeah, except for Adam at Movie Archer. You're a good dude. I like you. But shout out to a real guy. Yeah, I agree with everything you said.
Yeah. Well, anything else we wanted to mention, bring up?
I've got some. I did do a little bit of homework. I didn't. When I said I prepared, I didn't prepare that much. I went into Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't know if you guys have covered. I can't remember if you covered this in your Rotten Tomatoes episode, but I just found a couple of films that critics rated quite low. These are all certified rotten as of yesterday, that all had much higher audience scores. And then I also did the flip side, and I found ones that they'd rated quite high that had low audience scores. And then there are two other movies I want to put in that I know reviewed poorly at the time, but it was like over 50 years ago. So these are some movies that I think are pretty good, at least entertaining, that have scored low on Rotten Tomatoes. So The Lovely Bones.
Yeah.
31%, according to Rotten Tomato critics.
That's so insane.
Venom, which we're talking about before, 31%. It's rotten.
They made so much money, those Venom movies.
Jumanji,
like
Robin Williams, childhood favorite, I'm sure, of all of us to some degree, 52%. Man of Steel, 57%. To get fresh, you need to be 60, by the way. Flashdance, 37%. Cult 80s hit Flashdance.
Classic, yeah.
Spaceballs, 52%.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Mel Brooks didn't pass the tomato meter.
Yeah.
Legend, I'm not talking about the Tom Hardy, I'm talking about Tom Cruise fighting devils. 43%. Blade got close, 59%. Not quite enough.
Yeah.
Arguably one of the best comic book films ever made. Top Gun also got close, 59%. Which is crazy, because when that second one came out, I thought it must have been the best movie of all time, because no one would stop talking about it. Yeah. Saw arguably changed the genre of horror forever. 50%, not good enough for Rotten Tomatoes. Boondock Saints, 26%.
See, that's the wildest one to me.
Yeah, everyone that we knew growing up, we're talking about how amazing that
Boondock
is.
Saints. It's crazy that it's 26%, but the audience is 91. Like
Hook. I know Spielberg thinks it's a failure. I watched it for the first time last year.
Oh.
Spielberg might need to retire if that's his opinion on film. 29%. It is a charm factory. That
you
film.
never saw Hook before?
I never saw it as a kid. It was very rarely available. I picked it up for the first time on 4K last year. I watched it with my wife, and we were delighted from start to finish.
Yeah, one of my favorite Spielberg movies, honestly.
Yeah.
Hook is amazing.
Bad Boys, 44%. Not good enough. A Knight's Tale, almost past 59%. Bullet Train, 53%. I thought Bullet Train was a pretty good one from a couple of years ago.
Very fun,
awesome.
Yeah.
And look, it might deserve the critic rating, but my enjoyment factor means The Room does not deserve 24%.
No.
So those are some films that I would say most people would agree are pretty good that scored low. Here are the ones that did get the fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So I mentioned Emilia Perez before. 71% of critics thought that was a great one. The 2016 remake of Ghostbusters, 74%. Strong performer, that one. I don't hate that one, by the way. I feel very indifferent about it. Just didn't move my needle. But Last Jedi, I know it was a divisive one. 91% on the tomato meter there.
That is just so ridiculous. That is...
Now, I actually quite enjoy most parts of that film. There are definitely some bits I do find hard to defend. I know I'm in the minority, but do I put it at 91 for general audiences? I would say probably not. It was hard to find some ones that had high ratings that didn't deserve them. So these ones are, I think, a little bit divisive. I don't know if you guys remember Beowulf from the late 2000s.
The
animated with
one?
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
That has 71%, that one.
Really?
I fell asleep in the drive-thru watching that one. Skinamarink, I know, was a very divisive one. That got a 74. Brian Rupert from Reviewing History said he made it himself at home in 20 minutes with a handycam. So I don't know where it is, but he did upload his version of Skinamarink. And In a Violent Nature, which I personally really enjoyed, but I heard your review of it recently, Dustin. 78% for In a Violent Nature, for what I would say probably is a down-the-middle film. I think you're either going to love it or hate it. I don't think 78% of people are loving that one.
Yeah.
So that was my research, yeah.
You calling out Last Jedi made me look up Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Indiana Jones.
That's also certified fresh.
Certified fresh, 77%.
That's
Audience
also a movie
53%.
I do enjoy and defend, but I know I'm in the minority there as well.
Yeah.
And the other two movies...
Don't do it.
No, I won't.
Don't engage.
The other two movies I wanted to bring up, I couldn't find much information, but I know historically that they reviewed poorly at the time of release. They're fresh on Rotten Tomatoes right now. The Thing reviewed poorly. John Carpenter's masterpiece. You know, the one that pretty much redefined body horror forever and science fiction and everything. Yeah, that was a garbage fire according to the critics back in 1982.
Yeah. And like a B movie.
And Psycho. They referred to it as Hitchcock's downfall. They thought that showing showers and the first toilet on the cinema screen was pervasive and was probably going to be the end of his career. They thought it was an abomination. They hated Psycho. It's now taught in most film classes.
Because it's...
And homaged in pretty much everything, up to and including Terrifier 3.
Yes.
So I didn't do too much research, but I found a couple of scores that I thought would make some eyeballs pop. So there we go.
Yeah, I think it just illustrates the trend of the problem that we've been talking about the whole time.
The funniest one is the Boondock Saints for me.
It's insane.
That's such a contrasting difference.
Another one I watched for the first time last year. I'd never seen it before, just never crossed my path. I blind bought it, and it's out there. And there's definitely some questionable stuff that doesn't age great. But what a wonderful movie that is! It holds. There are a couple of lines, especially Willem Dafoe with his weird being both a homosexual cop and homophobic at the same time. That kind of is weird. It ages poorly. But as a film, it holds up incredibly well. It's like RoboCop. 40 years on, that holds up incredibly well. I don't know.
Now imagine being 15 and seeing that movie and you're like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Yes, 100%. Yeah,
And
my
then
daughter
being
won't have to
excited
wait
for
that
the
long.
sequel and being like, that's what you gave us? That's what you
Well,
gave
his
us?
story is amazing because unlike most, he was the next hot thing, and unlike most directors who are like, oh my god, thank you for this opportunity, he was like, I'm going to tell you what to do, and Hollywood was like, we won't work with you then. See you in 10 years.
Yeah, right.
Very funny.
Yeah,
amazing.
it's I think it really just comes down to people. You got to think for yourselves.
Yeah.
Don't rely on the critics. Don't just go watch a movie. James, you said it earlier. When we were young, if a movie sold out or if you couldn't get seats with your group, you picked whatever the next movie was going to be. We never had the option to just leave because we were dropped off by our parents with the intention to see a movie, because that was before you could reserve seats. So if a movie sold out while you were in line, it was a quick well, what's the very next show time? Because we have to, our parents are meeting us here at this time. It wasn't always what you wanted to see, but you went and saw a movie anyways. And it was, sometimes it was a winner, sometimes it wasn't, but it was still joyful. So, I think critics are not, I don't think they're as relevant as they try to be.
Yeah, and I think audiences also, like you were saying, try to play it too safe and depend on them critics for their insights when you really don't need
just go
much.
watch a movie.
You can take the risk, or you can find someone you trust their opinion of and be like, did you like this? Because I like what you like, or I understand why you like it, like you were saying.
There is a place for film criticism, and that's on, like those Paley Center panels, like those, or podcasts, or, like as the guy who posts 90-second reviews, that's not enough time to get a full review, I'll be honest. So even though I've branded myself that way, and please keep watching them, you're not going to get the information you need out of a clipping. It's not even newspapers anymore. It's on a website now. A short paragraph isn't going to do it. Like, if you want to learn more about it, listen to those podcasts that do those big discussions about them. If someone can tell you everything that's wrong with a film in 30 seconds, then they probably weren't paying attention either. Like, you need to vote with your wallet. Realistically, I'd like you all to think more for yourselves at the voting polls and stuff like that. But if you can't do that, at least think for yourself when you're going to watch a movie. You know what? Reverse that. Definitely think about it when you do. Politics play more important than movies.
But way less entertaining.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
Depends on how you look at it. Matter of perspective.
Well, this was a fun
thank
conversation.
You so much, James. It was everything I hoped it would be.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me
awesome.
Just do what I do. I always tell people, I'm like, look, when I host my show, it's a conversation, but I have to keep things on the tracks. If you have me on your show, you've taken the leash off. Like, 'cause I'm just going to go wherever I want.
Yeah.
In all
we
fairness,
don't
our
have
show
plans
doesn't
or
necessarily
rails or
have
anything.
an actual leash.
Yeah, exactly. We just kind of do whatever. And we knew it would be easy because when we went on your show, we just had the most enjoyable, easy conversation ever.
Yeah.
And so we were excited to do that again. And it definitely delivered.
I think I've told you this before, Jake. I might have told you, Dustin. I'm not sure. But there are a couple of moments on your show where you have mentioned me, and those are like on my darkest hours. Like, those are the clips I go to. Like, or I'll show my wife. I'll be like, check this out. So, like, there's a moment at the beginning of, I can't remember which episode it is now, but it's right after you came on my show, and you talk about how like natural and fun it is. Like, on those bad days, I'm like, let's pull up that clip. Let's listen to Jake and Dustin tell me how much they enjoy working with me. Excellent. If I'm really needing some help, I'll pull up the first ever movie bonus awards. I'm like, let's see Dustin see me in the Batman costume for the first time. Excellent. And now I feel good about myself. I'll keep on trucking.
Yes.
So
Never give up.
I'm a huge fan of the show, which I've said time and time again. They're like, just keep doing that, James. I was going to get really dirty, but I decided not to. I was going to be really horribly inappropriate. But I love the show. Like, that's not a line. It's not just to appease you. Like, I listen to 2 podcasts without fail. There are 2 shows that I love. One of them is a mainstream one. The other one is yours. If your show comes up, everything else goes on hold. Like, I love listening to you guys talk. It's like listening to friends, even though we're halfway across the world and we only get to talk in person apparently once every 18 months. It's always nice listening to your show. And my wife knows, like, she's like, movie bonus tomorrow. I'm like, movie bonus tomorrow. And she's like, I think you've done that show before. I'm like, I've been Batman before, but I've never been on a full show. So she knows, like, the excitement for it. So it's been,
I like how being Batman is down here and being on the show is up here.
Well, there's been like 7 Batman. Like, how many guests have been on movie bonus? Like, I'm still like in single digits, I think. And I know 7 Batman are
4, 5, 4, 5, somewhere there.
I know that 7 is also a single digit, but I don't know. Batman seems more achievable. If I can play Batman, anyone can. But yeah, I've been looking forward to it. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yes, and so have we. We've loved it so much, and you were just the sweetest, and we would definitely never give up. We just enjoy everything that you're doing over there, and the reason why you're doing it, I think, is so admirable. That's why we love it so much. So yeah, I think that's all we really have.
I think it's it.
Yeah. I think we're recording things out of order. Last episode, which we haven't recorded yet, is a Guy Ritchie episode. That was really fun.
Ooh,
I'm sure
nice.
when we get around to doing it. And then
did you have to watch a bunch? Did you guys go back and watch most of his stuff?
We're doing all of his movies.
filmography.
I just redid Snatch a couple of weeks ago, and oh my god, that's amazing. And Ministry of Ungentlemanly. Oh, I'm gonna have to do it. Yeah.
That's the movie that, to me, I'm like, how did not, like, people, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is awesome. It's so good. No one saw it.
And then next episode we're doing Robin Williams. So
Nice.
coming up on 11 years since we lost him, and but his whole career was such a unique and interesting collection of roles that we wanted to get deep into all of them, or as many as we can cover in the time we have. So
following Dustin's review, will you be watching World's Greatest Dad is my question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you are? Because I know Jake was like, oh, that sounds horrible. So
yes, definitely have
I
to.
have it over there.
Well, now I'm going to put myself through misery as well, so I can be in solidarity with the show.
There you go. All right.
Such
So
a bad dad in that movie. So bad.
All right.
All right.
I think, like we said before, we don't know how to start. We don't know how to end. This is
we should have James plug his show.
Oh, we should have James plug his show. I assume everybody knows because we talk about you all the time. But yes.
Oh, thank you.
James, please tell people about I Was a Teenage Film Snob and how incredible it is.
It's kind of exciting. Yeah, go check it out. I Was a Teenage Film Snob on Instagram, underscores between every single word. I post far too often. There's reviews every day. I've started doing clips from the show now, so you actually see who I'm talking to, which is nice. We just restructured the show this year because I was getting a little bit burnt out trying to manage a show while being overseas. So every second, we alternate weeks. 1 week, it's me and my team. I now have 2 co-hosts, Maddie and Nick, and we'll break down a franchise or a movie or just talk about the topic of our choice. And then every other episode, I'll sit down with, well, it was meant to be just a random guest interview, but people from the industry have started coming on the show. So recently I spoke to J.R. Stokes, who's been on your show as well. I spoke to him. That was a lot of fun. Jonathan Salemi, who directed The Last Deal, who's also been on your show. Jeffrey Lauren, who was in The Last Deal. She's been on the show. Gillian Bell is the big, very cool one. And it hasn't come out yet, but by the time this comes out, it should be out. I sat down with I've forgotten his name. That's so embarrassing. His first name is Aaron, and he directed the Joker's Wild short that went kind of viral earlier this year with David Howard Thornton as the Joker. So I sat down with the director of that. He's going to kill me for not knowing his last name. And currently trying to maybe parlay a chat with David Howard Thornton. Whether that occurs or not, I'm not sure yet. But I'm just taking big swings. But it's a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun. I get to talk to fun people, and we just celebrate movies and love it all. So yeah, please go listen if you want to. And if you don't, you got sick of me on this show, I get it. I talk a lot.
No, I love it. I think
if
it's
they
great.
Listen to our show. They already are used to long-winded.
Yeah. You're not too short anything, I don't think. So yeah, definitely check out James. He's the best, and great on social media as well. Always in his comments and DMs because he's just so fun. So yeah, that was it.
Yep.
Well done, everyone. Congratulations to us.
We did it.
And
this might be the worst way we've ever started and ended.
I was trying to think of a way to
Wow.
connect. I was trying to think of a way to connect leaving a review as a critic on the episode as like 5 stars and make that funny, but then now I can't figure out how to do it. So don't do that.
If you know the joke in there, just do the joke. That's what we're looking
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
We'll
you,
see
guys.
next
Thank
time.
you, James.
See
Man,
ya.
this was awesome.
Thank you.